I really don't care. Like,
well, that's what submission is. That's what submission is that you.
Down that I think everybody is at some point deserving to receive love and to be even into marriage if they do aspire for marriage.
I believe that society shapes how we view things and how we look at things in our life.
Make your own bed. That's basically what Kevin Samuels is saying. His delivery is what people kind of throws people off. But basically,
aggressive or like violent, like where I think toxic masculinity is
no offense to men, that they also get this idea that, you know, women are just going to take care of them and everything is going to be like easy.
A domestic violence shelter, and he brought her up to be, you know, a $25,000.
Hell yeah, you need to judge in dating. It is what it is. You know, you can't not judge people just because you feel bad about it. Like, you need to know.
As much as I love my daughter, there are some harsh realities and some things that her mother and I teach her in order to help her to understand.
Like, I'm sure everyone knows a woman that, you know, had to father her dick all the time.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the CKQ podcast. Your normal host, Clement, the owner of the channel. He's not going to be able to make it tonight, so I'm going to fill in for him. And last week, we talked about the big girls. We talked about how men were very visual. We talked about how if you weigh in 350 plus, you probably won't find a man. But tonight, men, I'm going to get on us. We're going to talk about accountability. You know, if you're going to judge that big girl, what are you doing? Are you doing your part? We're going to discuss that tonight. Man, I'm coming for your heads. So, women, sit back, relax, and get ready. And I want everybody actively participating out there in that chat. I need you to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, share it, invite people on. The link is included out in the chat. So come up and be a part of the podcast. All right. First up, we're going to introduce the panel. Everybody knows me. You can find me here every week on the CKQ podcast. But let's go to my co-host tonight, the Blooming Ebony.
hey everyone, I hope you're having a good week so far. My name is Chris, but my channel is called The Blooming Ebony. Here on YouTube and also my Instagram, you can find me at Ebony as well. And I think that's all. I hope you enjoy the show, and I hope that you subscribe and like this video.
All right. So first up, we're going to do a little reaction video.
Him getting banned is that it's ridiculous. You can disagree with some of his ideas, right? Do I agree that if your girl has an OnlyFans account, as he once said, that you should be entitled to 80% of it because your woman is your property? No, I don't agree with that. But I would host him and I would debate him on that. I'm not offended by him even saying it. I think it's stupid, and I would debate him any day of the week on that, because I think it's not even productive to society. Why is he getting banned for this? What is he really getting banned for? You don't get banned for bad ideas, but you do get banned for ideas that are against the wave of the leftist narrative. The fact that we have people and individuals that are on TikTok, right? What's worse? TikTok advocating for minor attracted persons, advocating for pedophilia, trying to put a ribbon on pedophilia, right? Pretending that it's just a sexual preference, as if you're lesbian or gay. Yeah, I'm into children. That's the stuff that you can find online. You can find professors that are talking about that are trying to introduce these concepts. What's worse? People that are advocating for the castration of our children, teaching children that they can pick their gender and that they should want and aspire to go on puberty blockers, which we know causes irreparable harm to their bodies. People that will grow up and they will actually not be able to have normal sexual functions. People that grow up to be asexual because they thought they could just press pause on their puberty because that's what they learned online, and a bunch of celebrities got in line and said, that's great, the trans agenda. What's worse? These celebrities that are advocating for the harm of our children through all of these various means, or a guy that's a part of a manosphere that's clearly playing a part. I'll also say this, why do these people get so many followers? Why does Andrew Tate get so many followers?
All right. Man, Candace had a mouthful to say. All right. So what do you think about it, Chris?
I agree with her. I agree with most of the things that she says. But yeah, I definitely agree. I think it's kind of bizarre, like the things that offend people, or like the things that people let slide and the things that they don't let slide. And I'm happy that she has a platform where she kind of brings to light these different issues. But yeah, I watched that entire podcast and it was a really good one. I agree with it, definitely.
All right. So for people who are out there watching, the person that she's talking about being canceled is Andrew Tate. So if you don't know who Andrew Tate is, he is like world-class kickboxer. He is a man's man. Okay. He believes in accountability. He believes that what's happening, Simon? How you doing?
Yo, I'm all right. How are you?
I'm all right.
Sorry, I'm a bit late, so
that's okay.
It's been a bit of a heavy week, heavy lifting. Yeah, but I was listening, so yeah, please go on.
Okay, so I'm gonna finish up talking about kind of like who Andrew Tate is, just to give some context, and then I'm gonna come to you. I want to know what you thought about what Candace was saying. Were you able to hear that? Were you able to hear the reaction video?
I saw a little bit. As I said, I came in a bit late.
Okay.
Get dressed up and everything, and like get online.
All right. Okay, so most people know who Andrew Tate is, but he's actually the epitome of man's man. She did make a comment about that she didn't agree with him on some things, but she didn't agree with Andrew being canceled because she didn't understand like why. And we will go back to that reaction video and play some more of it here in just a bit. But I wanted to kind of get everyone's take on the first part, what she was saying. So for me, while we're waiting on Simon, for me, I actually, if anyone who knows me personally, they would say that they would almost call me the Black Andrew Tate. So we have a lot of the same opinions about a lot of things. Because my first argument would be when she said what she said about your woman being your property. See, I wouldn't disagree with that. I would actually agree with that. So, ladies, what do y'all think? Like, how can I protect and provide for something that I'm not responsible for? And if I'm responsible for it, why is it not mine? Yeah, you're not an inanimate object, but property does not have to be an inanimate object. Your child is your property. Y'all hear you say anything about that?
Did you just say, ladies? What do y'all think?
Yeah, because I'm broadcasting. I'm not just talking to the
Oh,
panel.
all right. So you're speaking to the. I thought you're speaking to me.
Oh, don't worry. I'm gonna come back. I want your. So, what do you think about that? Because I want a male perspective on this too. I know a lot of the women are like, ain't nobody private. You hear me? I own myself. Don't no nigga own me. I know
Waving that finger.
Waving that finger. You know what I'm saying? Now, if a dude come up and make her ass scared though, she's like, where was you at? You ain't see me. I was in trouble. This man had me cornered.
This is the thing I find fascinating. But at the same time is, I don't know, something that's like, it's just really strange because it's like, you know, like if you have boys and you have daughters, it's different. So like with daughters, they just act a different. I don't know, from a man's perspective, act a different way. Like, I think that's the only way you can learn about women, to be honest. Like,
in which way?
Like, if you raised a woman, because it's like, it's hard. Like, I would find it very difficult for a 15, 16, 18, 24, 30-year-old man to understand what a woman is. I'd find that really difficult. And I find that a lot of women try to invest in men that are that age when they're sort of growing up and think that they actually understand what they are. It's just, it's very difficult. And it's not to say, like, to put women on a pedestal. It's just to say that we are of the same species, but we're not of the same, you know, planting. Like we have different stances, and that's an education that's just not taught. It's not our fault. You know, like the education system does not provide us with that. You don't walk into class and go, oh, there's a man and there's a woman, and the man does this and the woman does that, and you know, you're going to leave this college, or you know, it doesn't happen. And this is a dysfunction. Maybe this is something we need to think about in terms of our future curriculum, because all we're taught about is sex. Oh, this is a carrot. This is how you put the condom on the carrot. Do you get what I mean? It's wrong. Like, we're taught about sex, we're not taught about relationships.
That's interesting. And the reason I popped that question up there, because that was a perfect segue to my first question for the panel. Okay. What is the role of a man in 2022? Now, notice I did put 2022. I was very specific about the year, because if you ask me what the role of a man is, it's going to be the same in 2022 as it was in 1982 when I was learning about that. Now, see, you said a mouthful just then, Simon, and I like what you said, because that's one of the problems that we're having in society. We're leaving the school to teach stuff that should be taught at home. See, dad should be having this conversation. Dad is the one who knows. So you're exactly right. To expect a 21-year-old man to understand a woman, you can forget it. Even a 40-something-year-old man won't understand a woman completely, but he can point his son in the right direction. He can eliminate some of those. He can eliminate some of those small idiosyncrasies that most men do know about women, and he can teach them how to avoid certain interactions. Like, you can teach them, of course, mom's going to teach him to be a gentleman. Both mom and dad's going to teach him to be a gentleman. That's not what I'm talking about. But he can reflect on the mistakes that he's made and the lessons that he's learned as a man and teach them to his son. What do you think about that? What do you think about that, Chris?
I agree. I think the best teacher is action still. So I think that no matter what, oh sorry if you can, I don't know if you can hear the truck outside. Like, no matter really what you say, it still kind of comes down to what you do in front of your children. And so I think that's why it's important to be able to act it out, meaning that his mother is probably hopefully in the house as well. But in terms of your question, I agree. Like the role of a man hasn't changed. It's been the same for thousands of years. And I think the question is, are men filling that role in 2022?
Yeah.
And I would have to say the answer to that question is not really, because they don't know how to. They don't know how to. They don't have the confidence to feel like they can be successful in that role.
I have to disagree with you on that.
Let's hear about it then. Let's hear about it. Got a disagreement. We got a fight on the panel. Is a fight on the panel.
Not in a bad way. No, I think Chris is cool. But it's just yo. Oh, you're doing that shit. Oh my god. Alright. It's always been that way. It's always been that way. And you know, I had to have a little break, right? I had a whole steam go on in terms of what I was doing. But I had a little break and I had a little bit of a reflection. And in this reflection, what I sort of came into was, listen, this has been going on like from the dawn of age. You know, we're not. It's not one or the other. It's not black and white. Some women can do it, and some men can do it, and some men can't, and some women can't. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah, but is it an issue of can't or won't?
Can't.
So you're saying that when you say what they can't do, you're referring to follow their role?
No, some women just can't. Like some women have been out here, and some men have been out here, and they're just dookie. They're just like, you know, they're just not built for it. They're just like dookie. They have no understanding what kids are. They have no understanding what relationships are. They don't have no understanding of, you know, feelings, passionate, emotional sort of status in terms of if you're sort of walking into your job one day and like you need to control yourself, like, and not just, you know, rile up against somebody, like, stop. There is a real line, like in terms of there are people and there are people, and what we've been trying to do, I guess, I'm trying to guess big time, is go, okay, we're all in the same pot. We're not we're not all in the same pot. Like at the end of the day, align with who you need to align with, and that's just what's going to happen. You know, it might be very small in terms of incremental understanding and alignment, but align.
So you're saying alignment. I'm just going, you know, that's a nice answer that you gave, but mine's going to be a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We fucking failed, bro. Men have failed. Period. For whatever reason, you can give them whatever, but we're failing. When a woman divorces, we divorce the fucking whole family too. The men don't fight for the kids because they don't really want the kids. We too busy butt hurt trying to figure out how we're gonna move on to the next woman. You can get them damn kids from that woman. You sure hell can. I did. One of them I went to court and won. The other one I just big boyed her and just said, listen, he coming to live with me. I gave you X amount of time. He's not doing well. He needs to be with his daddy. So he's gonna come live with me. She tried to argue respectfully because she knows that I'm not gonna hear no kind of yelling or screaming. You're not gonna disrespect and talk to me crazy. That's not gonna happen. And she tried to make her point and she couldn't because the proof was in the pudding. The proof was in his grades. The proof was in his behavior. You're failing. He needs something different. He needs more than just my money coming to you. He needs to be with dad. So I took him away and she's happy. Everything is fine because her son is now blossoming. He needs to be with his dad, period. And there's a lot more young men that need to be with their dad. But dad is woe is me. I gotta pay child support. I gotta do all this, and she ain't even spending. Well, go get him. If you go get him, the judge will take away the child support. Go get him. But then when you tell, well, I work too much, and then he gives you 19 fucking excuses as to why he can't go get him. So what do you think about that, Simon? Do you think we failed? Do you think it's the man's fault? I say it is. What do you say?
It's very interesting. I think like we can't keep blaming women.
Nope.
Like, you have to like, as it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. Like, you have to sort of, in certain types of situations, you have to take it upon yourself to do the right thing. And if the right thing is, gaining your children, then that's the right thing. In my situation, that was the right thing. I'm still sort of 50-50 with it. And I think in relationships, you're always going to be like that. You're always going to be like 50-50, especially if you've been in a lived situation or in a marriage or a relationship that's lasted longer than 3 years.
When you say 50-50, can you elaborate on that just a little bit, Simon?
Because it's always going to be 50-50. I mean, you're not in control of that. That's the law.
Oh, you mean time?
You're not in control of that shit.
I got you. I understand what you're saying. When you're saying 50-50, you meant the amount of time the child, like, is half yours, half your wife.
Everything. No, it's not only the child, it's everything. Like 50-50. You got to split right down the line. That's the mind state you have to have. You have to have the mind state of it's 50-50. Like, so, like, when she comes see you and talk to you, it's 50-50. Every time she talk out of her mouth, it's 50-50. Every time, like, you walk down the road, where every time you try to put some food in your child's mouth, it's 50-50. Like, don't play that shit. Like, it's not a joke. It's not a joke in any sort of sense of the word. Everything is 50-50. That's the law. The law, the rule is the rule, and the law, the rule is the code. And you need to live by that code, because this ain't no street code. This is the law of the land. Like, so you can't do that. You step out of line, it's over. It becomes a problem automatically.
Okay, so now we're getting somewhere, because now I wasn't gonna push back against that until you really got into your elaboration on it, and then now I definitely will, because I don't agree with that. Everything is not 50-50.
Oh boy,
everything won't be 50-50. It's just not, because think about it. what if a man, if you're going to be accountable as a man, you're the leader. You understand? You are the leader in the house. So you're responsible as a leader.
You're not.
Oh yeah, you are. You are the leader.
Do you really want to do this? Come on.
You are the leader of the house.
How if you do not have the children? All right. Look,
how? You're the leader of the house.
I'm gonna put out look, I'm just gonna say before we actually continue this conversation.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say a disclaimer.
Okay.
Go ahead. If you're okay with this, this is a disclaimer.
Okay, go ahead.
I have nothing against you. Okay, I'm just gonna state the facts. All right. So
no, you're gonna take your opinion because the facts are.
Nah, listen, bro. I'm a law student. Listen, I know what's going on.
Listen, man, you live in a whole different country. So over here, there's no law that we're all 50-50. There's no law.
It's a common law. We made the law that you live by.
Well, there are common laws and then there are laws.
No, we made the law you live by.
Except in Virginia, which is a Commonwealth state.
It doesn't matter what state it is in, right?
No, it does.
It does to an extent because you can twist it to an extent.
Yeah, because each state has its own constitution.
All right. Okay, cool. All right. So what's your question?
So it's different. It's just different. We in two different countries, so I may have missed.
No, you're missing the point.
I may be misinterpreting what you're saying. So that's why I wanted you to provide more context.
All right. So you guys are in America. I'm in the UK. Common law is stature in the US. It's not different. There's no difference. The only other countries in the global world that have a difference is in Europe, Russia, Japan, China. Apart from that, any other Commonwealth country has common law. So if you stole an apple, right, tomorrow,
okay,
the same law would apply if you stole an apple in the UK.
The punishment would just be different, possibly.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. But how does that translate to who's the leader of the house is? Because
in the same factor, in the same sense that, if someone wants to establish themselves as the leader of the household, there's many laws that apply to that. So at the end of the day, if you want to just boil it down to sort of like apples and oranges, it's like if you're married to someone, it's different to being in a relationship with someone, which is where we started off.
Okay. But we're going to assume marriage. So let's just assume a marriage and not just a boyfriend. Because when you're a boyfriend and girlfriend living together, there's no real commitment there. Because she can leave and break the lease and nothing can be done about it.
Right.
You have no legal ties to her whatsoever. She has none to you. So let's just assume keeping everything under the same thing, under the same argument and same variables in alignment. Let's just say that we're talking about married people.
Right.
So would you agree or disagree that the man should be the leader of the house?
I don't know.
Don't be scared now.
I don't know. It depends on the relationship. I really can't say that. I would say typically the man would be because of a number of factors. But I don't know what people are dealing with out here. Because I could say, okay, me, I would be the leader. Yes, me, because that's just how I operate.
Exactly.
But
now, what are some of your responsibilities as being the leader? Don't forget, the panel is all about accountability. Who is responsible for if you're going to be the leader? What are your duties?
your duties is ensuring that everyone's just safe.
What else?
And financially capable.
What else?
Moving forward.
Mhm.
And being socially interactive in terms of I'm not talking about YouTube right now. I'm talking about like on the golf field or whatnot. Like you need to understand certain things. Like my ex-wife, although like she's my ex-wife and she's my my partner still because we have a child, she can move a room quite quickly. She's very good at it. I have to give her real credit for that shit, because it's just like the way she moves the room is just like I can't do that. I can't. Women play a role, and
they do.
Yeah, so it's just like
it's not a role.
But do they acknowledge? There's a difference. There's certain types of women that acknowledge relationship, and there's certain types of women that are just like, I don't even know what that is. So, or they have not been in a position where they've had a man come into their life to even place them in that situation that they can even move into another relationship that makes them, audible to society in a way that they want to be, not in a way that the men want them to be. Women want to be audible.
Okay. Chris, what do you think about what Simon just said? What do you think about what I said? Did you get offended when I said it?
About the property thing?
I'm not going yeah. All of it.
Okay. The property thing, no, I don't see a problem with it. I understand why women do though, because they think a lot of women, when they hear that, they just think that means that they just have to sit there and take whatever their husbands do, which that's not what it really means. It's not what it means at all, really. And they also think that I've noticed that a lot of women kind of relate everything back to slavery. I notice it more with women than I do with men, just in my own personal experience. Like everything connects back to slavery. So when they hear property, I think they just immediately think slave. But in modern times, like the idea of you belonging to your husband is not in the same sense as slavery, or even like the 1950s idea of belonging to your husband. There are so many ways in which that you have a voice that your husband really can't even take away from you under the law. Like you can vote, that's a voice right there. You can file your taxes separately if you wanted to. Like there are so many ways that you can, like even you can open up your own bank account, which wasn't a thing for many women in different countries. So like this idea that by someone just saying that a woman is property is somehow going to reverse times, I just think is extreme and kind of ridiculous. I understand what people say when they say it. So in short, no, I'm not offended. But when it comes to male responsibility, do I think that is the men's fault for why the role of a man is kind of almost empty now, like no one's filling it? I don't think it's necessarily their fault alone. I do think that it is a team effort. I think it's a team effort. And I think that I was listening to this podcast and the woman on there was saying that when women got the biological right to be parents, men got the social right to be a parent, right? And I don't think they took into account the fact that if a woman can opt out of being a parent, then a man can then, to some effect, kind of opt out of it as well. And so when you kind of when you took away the structure of, you get married, you become husband and wife, and then you have children, you're like, he's locked in, he can't choose to not be there for this child. He's locked in. And when the feminist movement, when it stripped away that layer, what we're left with is men's ability to either say they want to be there or they don't, very similar to women. And so I don't think that this only falls on the shoulder of men. I think the decision was it's kind of just a domino effect. You know, one thing has led to another, but no one took into account where we're going to end up now. I don't think anyone saw that coming. There's a lot said there, so now I'm like going down the list of what the both of you said. In terms of what Simon was saying, okay, one thing that I think that we have to push through is this idea that we are very, very different as a species. Like, there are outliers, but for the most part, most households would be very, very successful if the man and the woman fell into their proper gender roles. So I think that it's not really a choice. It's like, it's, for most people, it would work. That's how it was supposed to be. And I think that if we continue with that, with this idea that it only works for some if they choose to, we're not really going to get anywhere. It's the best for the children. It's the best for the couple. The couples tend to be happier when they do fall into their gender roles. They did studies on men and women when they have the same role, when they're on the same team with the same responsibilities, versus the same team but delegated responsibilities. The teams where the women, or the men and the women, were on the same team, but one of them had their set of roles, the men had their set of roles, and they stayed in their lane, they worked better together. They collaborated a lot more. They got along better. There was no tension. But in the couples where they had the same responsibilities on the same team, there was a lot of tension. There was a lot of anxiety. There was a lot of depression. They didn't work well together, and the team eventually fell apart. Like, this isn't just in the home. You know, people have certain things that they're better at, and you should allow them space to do the thing that they were destined to do. And that's whether it's a relationship or even in the working world.
That was very well said, and I am familiar with the study that you're referencing. The team that tried to recreate basically that team was operating the same way we're trying to operate society now, that we're all equal and that we're all should be inclusive, and that just does not work, because a man is designed to do a set of things that women just don't like to do. They're not built to do it. They don't think about it. They don't give a shit about it. They don't care. They don't. And when you try to like this the newest thing is having maternity leave for men. If they make that shit optional, the only men that will go for it are lazy ass men. Men who are not driven. I'm not fixing to stay at home with 8 damn weeks. You don't want me at home with 8 damn. I'm telling you, you don't. You don't. Because the only thing I'm going to be thinking about is not that bundle of joy we just had, is how the fuck am I going to pay for it?
Oh boy.
That's what we're programmed to think. Because we protect and we provide. Do I want to spend time with my baby? Yes. But guess what? In psychology, there's a period of time from birth until about 4 years old called the critical period. A child should not be without their mother during this period of time. Don't say shit about the dad. It's the mom. It caused a lot of disruption in their personalities for those children who were without their mother during that critical period. You can Google it, look it up, whatever you need to do, right? And am I saying that dads are not important? No, that would be contradictory to my main argument. But what I am saying is, when that baby comes, mother is more important at that moment than we are. Our role would be to make her nest more comfortable. Make her feel better about what she's just given. This woman has almost died to bring life and allow your genetics to be passed. So yeah, you need to rub her fucking feet. Yeah, you need to massage her back. All of that. That is your duty. She did something for you. When a woman gives birth, she comes close to death. That is one of the most traumatic things an individual can experience. A woman can experience.
Yo, bro, I'm coming back in 10 minutes, if that's okay. I mean, listen, I'm gonna go in on this one. Like, goddamn, like what you brought up right there.
Mm-hmm.
I got whole photos about that shit. And I'm trying to close my mouth. That's why I say I got to come back in 10 minutes because it's like, goddamn. You know, like my daughter, like, and her mum's experience. You just spoke on like church. So give me 10 minutes, please.
Okay. So, Madre said both parties must sit down and try to understand what's creating this lack of intimacy and work on a resolution. Otherwise, the lack of intimacy will continue and it can lead to extramarital activity. I'm going to put this back up a little later on in the program, in the show, because this is very interesting, what she just said. That's very interesting what she just said. So Simon said he needed 10 minutes for what I just said. But going back, with what you were referring to while we're waiting on Simon, so I like to use the analogy of a football team. A quarterback is the one player on the team and is the one player on the team that can pinpoint, can manage the game. He has the offensive mindset, just like an offensive coordinator, offensive coach. He can throw the ball in small windows where no one else on the team can do that. And no one else on the team wants to do that. The wide receiver can catch and make the quarterback look even better than what he is. They're faster. They can jump higher. They're full of fast twitch muscles. The linemen are big and strong. They block better. So under this new narrative, we should be able to put a 350-pound slow person throwing passes to another 255-pound slower person and expect to win. That sounds asinine. And you don't have to know shit about football to know that if you're 350 pounds, you probably should not be handling the ball, trying to get it out quick before someone sacks you, because there's not very many people on the field that you're going to be able to outrun. You would be better shielding because you have that's your physical build. You're 6'5", 6'6". You'll be better shielding someone who's 200 pounds, 220 from getting hit by somebody your size, rather than you trying to play that role. It won't work. It doesn't work. That's why it never happens, but no one says anything about that. So why would you take and put a woman in a man's role and expect her to flourish? And why would you put a man in a woman's role and expect him to be okay? He's not going to be okay. Tamadri's got another, strongly disagree. Let me see this. Sorry, John, I strongly disagree with you on that in the company I work for, men take that time for bonding with their kids. Unfortunately, though, not many black men care to share that sad shit. All right, so bonding with the kids. So I'm going to clarify something. If under new rules, I think you could get like 8 weeks. Do you get your salary while you're there in 8 weeks?
Yeah, it's paid.
Do?
Paid paternity leave.
Paid paternity leave, just like the wife. All right, good deal. I don't need to be there 8 weeks. I don't. I'll be there long enough if you need me. Like if let's say this. If my wife needed me there, I would be there. It's just that simple. But she would dictate that. That would be something we would talk about, and I would ask her, hey, do you need me here 8 weeks? She knows me. And if she's my woman and she knows me, guess what she's probably going to do? She's probably going to say, I know you want to get back to it. I do. Now, let's really talk about it. Everybody knows that companies have times that you can take off. What typically happens, Chris, when a man takes off from work, even though it's his right? What normally happens? What has been your experience, maybe that you care to say or care not to say? What really happens when those promotions actually come up? Do those men get looked at for a promotion, or is it the one who's there? Which one is it?
It's the one that's there.
It's the one that's there. See, that's what I'm saying. That damn man can bond with that child when it's his time to bond with the child. You ain't got to go right back to work after 3 or 4 days, but you don't need to be there 8 weeks because they say you need to be there 8 weeks. Because see, the name of the game for the man is to get to the bag. Get to the bag. Because it makes your wife's life easier. If she needs you in this medical, oh well, she needs you. You got to be there for her. She might be undergoing postpartum depression. You don't know. And you don't want to come back home to a mess. Because that can be bad. Postpartum depression is real. But if she's healthy, the baby's fine, your wife is healing fine, you need to put yourself in a position to win. Because you got 2 people now that depend on you, and you have got to keep yourself in that position, favorable with your company, and in that driver's seat for you to get your next promotion. See, these are not things that people just talk to you about and just come right out and say, well, no, they can't do that. What? No, of course they can't do it, but they find a way to do it. And it happens. It happens all the time, especially when you look at a black man compete against white competition who is, let me remind you of something. It was really the white man that was the reason the feminist movement started. It was not because of the black man. It was because of the way the white men treated their wives. They treated them poorly. They talked to them crazy. That's where that feminist movement started. And they just talked black women on board with it. But they didn't have that dynamic did not exist. Why do you think so many black men actually, if you go to a home, if you look at the dynamic of a white couple and the dynamic of a black couple, I promise you cooking duties can be shared between the black woman and her husband in a lot of cases. A lot of black men know how to cook just like their wives do. But it's not the same dynamic in the white home. A lot of white men don't know how to cook. Some do, a lot don't. And they'll come in, what's for dinner? What have you done all day? Where's my damn supper at? I've been here working. What the hell have you done? So, for you to take that time, it's not needed. But if you need to, that would be a personal between you and her. But as far as like that's something that you just have to do, that the child's going to be all messed up if you don't spend all that time. No, you just need to make sure when you're off, you spend time with your child and your wife. That's my take on it. Chris, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I agree with the idea of equal opportunity. I think you should offer it to all parents. And I do think that you shouldn't have to take it all at once if you don't want to. You should be able to, go in for a week, and if you want, and stay home if you need to, and pull it from like your paid leave versus your PTO. I do like the idea of that. But I do think I think it can be helpful. I think it can be helpful for the wife to have help. Because if we think back to how things were in the past, typically you had your mother there, you had the grandmother there. Like, people didn't move super far away from their immediate family. So they had sisters or aunts or moms or anything like that to help them with the baby in those first, few weeks when things are a bit more difficult. So since people are typically moving more often, they're typically farther away from the people that are more likely to help them in those early months. I think that it is helpful to have somebody who can be available to help you without having to worry about stability, right? I think it's like the guy is going to be able to know for sure that if he takes that time off, he was allotted that time. So they can't, even though it can hurt him in terms of like promotions, because he wasn't there for a while. And whether we want to believe it or not, the person that works the most is typically the person that gets promoted. Which is why a lot of women don't get promoted, because we don't work that much. We don't work as much as men do on average. But I do think that it can be helpful. And at some point you do have to ask yourself, is if you would rather be home with your child the first eight weeks, that's important to you. I think that it's worth taking it. Like, do you defer that happiness? Like, okay, once I get this promotion, then I can spend more time with my child, because then we're stable. So it just, it depends on what you want to prioritize, and you're given that time. I think it should be equal opportunity. You should be able to have that time available and then use it as you please, but it doesn't have to be exactly the same for every person.
Now, one other thing that Tumadre said, and again, shout out to Tumadre, it can be done intermittently. So, hey, that would be something that I would probably, which I know me, I would be there like the first 2 weeks to get everybody settled in, and then it's back to work as normal for me. Because with my sons, all three of my boys cling to me, and that's not because it's not because I'm a terrible dad. I know what I'm doing. You understand what I'm saying? They cling to me because I've set an example for them to cling to, and I was with them. I always let the mother of my child sleep in. I got up with the baby, and it didn't matter that I had to go to work. You understand? A man only needs 4 hours of sleep. And I get it. My baby's gonna be up every 2 hours is about how they sleep. I got up each one of those times and I fed my baby, and we bonded. And I know the only reason that they say dad at first is because it's easier for them to put the tongue in the top of their mouth than to say mama and form their lips. That's the only reason. But they said dad at first, and they were looking at me and they rubbed my face. And so that's the way I took it. And I mean, those are some precious times. But guess what? There was no such thing as dad having paternity leave. And I was still able to work 12 hours, anywhere between 10 and 12 hours a day, and stay up, get up and down. I was tired. So, like I said, hold me accountable. I understood leadership. If you're going to be the leader of the house, you're responsible for everything that's successful about the house, and you're responsible for everything that fails about the house. If you're going to be the leader, that's We don't get to make excuses. When the shit fails, you fail. When it succeeds, you succeeded. You succeeded. Period, point blank. That's the way leadership works. If a company fails, do they blame the fucking baseline managers? No. Who do they blame? The CEO of the company. That is the leader. The CEO gets the blame because he or she is the one who's in charge. Period. When they fire the CEO, you don't see them firing every manager under that CEO. It's typically just the CEO. Chris, you can correct me if I'm wrong on that. I think you're muted. I don't know.
Depends, but yeah, they can just fire the CEO.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it where they just fire everybody. Now I take that back. I have seen it where all the upper management got fired, but lower level managers were fine because they're basically subordinates. Well, look who's back, Simon. Are you ready to chime in now? You said you was gonna jump all over that. I want to hear what you got to say.
I think like with children, what a lot of people don't understand is you have no choice. Like you really don't. Like if you're the main provider, like, and you know, this is the difference between single baby mothers and single baby fathers, which is something that's not actually spoken about a lot. Single baby mothers have a lot of networks and connections and people, because women naturally talk, men don't. So what happens is, and I thank you for actually allowing me to even speak on this subject. What happens is men in positions where they are single fathers are very isolated, because we don't have people coming talking to us, and even if they do, like most of the industries that are connected with this stuff are women, and they don't even want to talk to us, to be fair. I've experienced this firsthand, like, you know, with even though I've gone through some crap in my situation, trust me, like I have no support whatsoever. Where versus like the person who actually abducted my child had support in numerous ways. I just think, you know, I don't want to be bitter about it. I'm just saying it just needs to be thought about, like in terms of how we do this in the future, like for our future generations and our children, because it's wrong. Do you get what I mean? It's like, why are we as single parents, fathers in particular, I will start from there, not getting any sort of response? And that's why it's like, it's a response. It's like, oh, I'm going to call up 911. I'm going to call up 999. It's like,
So I need you to give me just a little bit of context on that. When you say a response, give me an example, or like just clarify more, like a response to what, like because I'm picking up what you're putting down a little bit, and I think I'm in agreement with what you're saying, because I'm essentially a single father. So just go ahead and clarify a little bit more for me.
So thank you, brother. I'll try to. What is this? This has been going on for a long while. It doesn't really matter. I mean, I'm talking specifically about the realm of being a parent. It doesn't matter in terms of you're being a parent or not. But females typically get more help, response, reactions, reliability on if they have a problem than males do. Males have to deal with stuff silently, and it's that's a problem. That's a real problem. And females don't want to pick. They don't pick up on it. They don't. It's like zero. Analytical sort of thought process.
No.
It's like, okay. It's like you may have all the talk, which is cool, but you don't pick up on that shit. It's just like, how can you not do that where it means something very detrimental to our community in terms of you need to bond with the black male, and understand that does, we do not have the same support. Basically, we don't have the same support. We don't. So if you can't acknowledge that and you're just going about your ways, it's problematic. Because what you're doing is you're just walking, and you're being robotic. And how can any other black male acknowledge you based on that fact? Because at one point in time, it could be you can acknowledge the black male, right? This is like a Disney story. So you can acknowledge a black male in your young jungle garden, and see him roaming free, right? Now he's walking around and he's got all his stuff all around him, but it's like at some point in time, what you're gonna encounter is the black male that is like, okay, I've been through that, right? You and the black male that was roaming through this garden couldn't provide you with what you wanted. So now what you're doing is you're looking at different situations in terms of, is this going to be a black, white, or male, or Anglo stuff thing going? You're not gonna be able to figure that out in a minute. So it's because people, that's what people typically do. You're just gonna you're gonna rest on it for a night.
Well, to go back to kind of you clarify what you were saying, and the reason that we don't get that help, one, men don't ask for it. That's one. It was a study done that showed black men in particular, when it comes to mental health, because that's going to fall under the mental health umbrella. Black women and white women, all women, were more likely to ask for help when it comes to their mental health or any kind of help than a man. 4 times more likely than a black man. We don't even like going to the doctor. We have a whole nigga growing out of us with hair and everything. Yo, ask the doctor,
are you gonna admit to it? I will admit to it. I'm telling you that. I swear to God.
I'll admit to it. I mean, we mess around and have to get a job and go to get a physical to get the job, and then we do that, and the doctor come back and you healthy, then you ain't going back again until somebody hire you and you need another physical, until you about you're on one step from death. Will you go? We just don't go, right? But the reason that women just don't, it's not that they don't have the women are very analytical. Like women,
wait.
No. Hear me out.
I will.
Women pay attention, but here's the thing: no one believes that bullshit that people are trying to put out there. that a man should be this, and this, should not be that masculine. That's toxic. He should be more understanding and careful of what he says and does, like a woman, and all these other things. They expect your ass to brunt and grind. They expect you to be a diesel truck, and whatever I put on you, they expect you to crank up and just damn go, and it will be okay.
Yeah,
she knows your role, but you don't want to acknowledge your role because it makes her, the media and everybody else are trying to make females believe that if you put your faith in that man, he's just gonna drive that damn diesel truck and everything you put on it out the road down the street. Even though 80% of marriages end in divorce because the woman walks away from the marriage. That's why they expect us to just be able to. He don't need no help. He got it. You ain't never heard that before? Have you ever seen anyone seeing a man carry 15 bags and offer to carry any? No, I'll wait. I live in an apartment complex.
Yo,
with very sociable neighbors.
I divorced my wife, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I divorced my wife. But I just wanted to touch on a point that you said before about...
Uh-oh. I think you're back, Simon. And Simon, while you up, will you please cut some lighting on so I can see your face?
I did think he made a good point about men being ostracized, though. One thing that you'll hear is men don't really feel comfortable taking their own kids to like parks and to different events because a lot of the women there don't believe that man is a parent. So because it's so abnormal to see dads showing up for a lot of those, for those events and taking their kids to parks alone and all of that good stuff. Oftentimes, like a lot of parents will assume that the dad is like a pedophile or something, and they're often made really uncomfortable when they go to certain places with their kids because people just don't believe that they can actually be a single father who's actually spending time with their children outdoors. So that's something that's very odd.
I've heard. That's funny you say that because there was an incident. Me and my boys, my younger boys, right? We were out. We were at Cracker Barrel. And I have athletic boys. And they're not allowed to eat certain things. That's just the way that works. Because I want to teach them healthy eating habits now. So they don't get to pick anything like they eat. Like I'll let them order stuff because they're so athletic and they do burn it off. They're not on any kind of really restrictive diet. But seeing as how I would be the one that would have to pay for braces and all these other things, then, they're not allowed to have sodas and stuff like that. It's just not a part of their diet. They can have juice and they can have sodas on occasion, but it's very limited as to what typically they drink about 8 to 10 glasses of water a day. And they they can drink juices and stuff with their dinner meals. That's just the way it is. Candy is completely out of the question. Chocolates, sweets, all that. Nah, they don't do all that. Right. And they don't want to. Because they like the way that their bodies, are shaping up. So they don't like to. But anyway, that's the context behind how I think. Now, this woman, I'm checking out and I'm paying the bill. Cracker Barrel, you come in and then you pay at the cash register on the way out. All of them set up the same way. And there's candies and shit right there. And she offered them and they both shook their head no. And she immediately jumped to the conclusion a big mean ass daddy just won't let him. So she says, "Are you gonna let?" I said, "No, not at all." I said, "Now how much is the bill?" "Oh, why not?" I said, "Because they don't eat it. They just don't like candy." So in her mind, like, what kid doesn't like candy? Well, so she's gonna ask them as if they're gonna trump me. I don't know what dynamic she thought that was, but I can tell you right now, nigga, I don't operate on a democracy, nigga. I'm a dictator. Mussolini, Hitler, whichever one you want to call it. I run this.
Oh,
the boys looked at her and they said, "No, ma'am." And she said, "Oh, you don't like it? No, ma'am. We're athletes. We don't eat that junk. That's crap." That's why so many fat kids at our school, because they eat stuff like that. We don't eat it. And I looked back at her, and how much was it again? She gave me my money, right? I mean, I gave her the money, and she left. She left that whole subject alone. But my boys stood behind their dad, and I already knew what their mindsets was like. And just to let her know, because they picked up on what she was doing really, really quick, really fast. And a lot of kids, I believe, would have just fed right into it. Oh, yeah. And they would have found an opportunity window to just go on and ask for something. But that would have turned out real bad had they done it. And if they're my kids, they're not going to do it. They have no
right.
way.
I'll tell you something real straight. You can't tell people what to do.
I can tell my kids what to do, and that's a whole damn
No, you can't.
Yes, I can. And I will.
You can't.
You sound like you're on drugs right now, man.
You can tell me what you want
with parents right now.
You can tell you. I'm telling you, I'm a parent myself. You can't tell them
how you parent.
I'm trying to give you some game, bro. Listen,
I don't need that game. I'm gonna do it how I want to do it. My specialty is developmental psychology, and I'm not hearing no parent tell me.
Listen,
I can't tell my child.
Your educational space means nothing with them kids.
A whole lot.
Listen, it means nothing with them kids. Means nothing. Okay, what you are to them kids are your parenthood. Okay,
my son disagreed with you so bad he just walked out the house and shut the door behind him.
This nigga is gonna drop me out in a second because I'm gonna tell him some truth. At the end of the day, right? I'm telling you, I've raised grown adults.
Yeah, I've got a grown child right now. What's your point?
You're trying to tell me what you just
and
said
I know
was
how
right.
it turned out.
Unless you're trying to grow a child into being something like a tree, that's different. I was on a bus today, right? And this guy, I don't know what he was. I think he was like a Hollywood director or something. I don't know, but he had a child. And he was playing like sound effects on his phone. I don't know if it was his project or something. Like he was just like, but his child was so engrossed in it. Like, oh, is that the sound we're supposed to play, Daddy? You know, he was just like saying weird, awkward stuff. He was just like saying things like, oh, you know, is that the next move we're supposed to make in this game? You know, because his dad was kind of like, he didn't look broke, but he was just like a bit like, didn't care. But I don't know. Do you get what I'm saying? He's a white guy. So we choose to bring our children up in whatever circumstance they are. So your child is your child. I can't tell you how to raise your child.
Right.
So my daughter it's the same way. It's like when people see me with my daughter, they look a bit awkward. They're like, because my daughter's smart, like she will say some shit. That's kind of like might throw you sideways. But that's just my opinion. So I wasn't trying to be rude or anything.
I still don't know where you're going with that. You never did finish. You never did. Like you jump started and then you didn't follow up. Then you didn't follow through. Well, I ain't understand.
Yeah, because what I was just trying to say to you, father to father,
that you said your statement was you can't tell people what to do, and yeah, I can, and yes, I will. That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah, you can't.
Well, how come I can't? I have a mouth and I have a very strong voice. It works.
You can verbally tell people what to do, but
and they do it.
That doesn't mean anything.
What does it?
Wait, you said they do it. So
You're exactly right. They do it. What do you mean?
So what case studies do you have to say they do it?
The proof is in the pudding.
Give me a case study.
A case study? Chase, go fix me something to drink. Did you hear anything? Did you hear a rebuttal? Did you hear a why? Did you hear anything?
No, I'm not talking about your immediate family. I'm talking about strangers. Like you're talking about people, right?
Right.
So you're saying you tell people what to do and they do it.
If you're in a leadership role, how are you going to not? I've been in plenty of management roles, and I stayed in those roles because my team was performing, because I understand the ability to influence others in accomplishing a task without creating offense. I know how to do that.
So are you talking about your job?
And then they will come and make that example.
Are you talking about your job?
Why would I come up and tell a complete stranger to go do this? Now I can, and I have.
I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to make sense out of what you're saying. So here's what it is.
When you're looking at it from a parent, right? You're a leader, and especially when you're a man, you're the leader, period. You and your child are not on the same level. Y'all are not equals. And when you treat the child like you're equal, then you're going to get that response like y'all equal. That's when you get into that.
I don't agree with that.
I get
what you're saying. I get where you're coming from.
In
terms of if a child turns around to you and says something real odd, it's your responsibility to correct that child. Like, say, if they're gonna, run across the road, they don't know what a road is. They don't know what cars are. Then it's your responsibility to hold them back and go, look, this is a car and this is a road. You can't run into that road. So that's the premise of responsibility. It's not to be dominant and go, okay, I know better than you. The premise of responsibility is really about you turning around and going, I've lived this. I know this. I'm not going to put this on you. And I'm not your support network. Because at the end of the day, one day, you're going to have to actually live this by yourself. It's not about really, which many people do. Many people turn around, they want to put their ego into it. And go, oh, I know better. I know how to do things better than you. I don't know how to cross the road better than you. Right? So what is what I'm trying to show, the youngers is that a way to cross the road. Not I'm telling you my way of crossing the road. I could cross the road however I want to fucking cross the road. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right. But you have to tell that child that at this point in your life, you're not allowed to cross the road by yourself, period.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? Like, there has to be authority there. Mm-hmm. You can't let, if the child told you, I'm going to cross the road. That's how a lot of kids get hit, because the parents have no authority over the child.
That's how people get hit, period.
True. But little kids who run out into the street, because they have no authority. There's no authority in that house. Because if it was a real authority in the house, one, they wouldn't be outside by themselves, or two, they wouldn't have broke loose and ran to the street, for fear of consequences of that parent were far greater than what because they don't really understand death, and they don't understand dying at a small age that these kids get hit by. Hit at. So as a parent, that's your job. Like, your job is to teach, train, mold. That's it. We always just dumb it down to give them a place to live, feed them water. It's not a fucking plant. It's a child. So they're going to behave a certain way. So you've got to teach them. You got to train them, meaning through repetition and have a plan, right? And they've got to believe that you know what you're talking about, other than the fact that you're just grown. If you want to get on the, if you want
Yeah,
to share,
I don't think
them,
many.
that's fine. But
I
they
think
need to believe in you. They need to see that you can be a successful person.
The funny thing is what most adults don't understand is children and young people do not see adults as grown. They see us as petty. They see us as just telling them something that they don't understand.
How you do it.
It doesn't really, like, they don't understand that shit. Really, I mean, it's kind of funny because it's like if you ever speak to a young person, that's what they will tell you. They don't respect you in that sort of way. Do you get what I mean? So I'll just give heed to any parent out there, any person. And this is the problem. We try to push our own feelings and emotions and life on young people. You can't do that. Don't do that. It's wrong. Like, you know, try to get engaged with the young people that you're engaged with, and bless God for that
engagement. Before we move on to the next question,
it's like, are you sure? Do you want me to do that?
Yeah, I want you to give me an example. You know, open up a can
bore
of
the
worms.
fuck.
You
This
got
will
the women
bore the
out
fuck
here
out of
now.
adults, right? This bore the fuck out of adults because adults get to a point, right, that they forget what a young person was. They forget who they were. They forget what the hell they were dealing with when they were a young person.
Okay.
So it's like, right, what happens is like you turn around, a young person starts going against you in the slightest. It might be like, oh, Mummy, I don't like the apple cake, or, you know, Daddy, I don't want to do that. And it's just like you start getting off on him because you're on your own shit. It's like, oh, I gotta get up to work tomorrow. It's like, oh, I gotta do this. Oh, who's providing this for you? It's like that means nothing to the young person, nothing at all. Like the young person's just thinking about, you know, what they're seeing on TV, what they're seeing on a tablet. You know, it might be like some TV show or some shit, you know, that's just intriguing them because you're paying their bills, right? And all you're thinking about is their bills. That's what you're thinking of. Oh, I gotta wake up, I gotta provide, I got all this shit going on, bailiffs coming around my house. You know, it's just like, God, the young person does not think like the adult, period. Stop. You know what I'm saying? Get out your feelings. Accommodate the young people. That's what I'd say. Because that's the most difficult thing to do. And then, like, you know, I could
accommodate young people in what way? And when you say young people, I need an age.
Young people meaning like, you know, 0 to, I'll say 14.
Accommodate them in what way?
Just accommodate them without your emotions and discrepancy of bullshit. Because like most people, look, I walk into supermarkets, I see these women and men, nowadays more men, previously more women.
Focus on the male aspect of it. Focus on the men.
Just going off at these young kids, like, because of your fucked up shit. Like, it's like nothing to do with you. You gave birth to these kids. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like, God damn.
So you don't believe somebody should fuss at their kids?
I don't believe.
And you probably don't believe in spanking either. You probably believe that timeout works. And you probably also believe that, you know, hey, if they feel like they should do this, then you should let them do that, regardless of the outcome and what you already know about it.
I think people don't understand that they fucked up. They don't understand it. They fucked up. You want to take out your fucking aggression on children, on young people, people you spawned. a woman to get a child out of her pussy, turn around and go through this whole enigma of life and go 2-3 years down the line and try and tell them what they're supposed to be when they're looking at you and going, I am you and you fucked up. Like, that's some bullshit. Like, give me a break. That's some real bullshit.
Chris, what are your thoughts on that? Because Simon opened up a can of worms now.
I have no idea what's happening.
So, Simon.
Listen, it's some old people talk. That's why Chris don't understand. I love Chris.
Nah,
I'm just saying, look, until you push the whole baby out of your vagina, Chris ain't gonna understand that shit. Listen, right?
Yeah,
you don't know what that is. You don't.
What was the point? Can you summarize?
Yeah, summarize real quick for Chris. Yannick, I'm gonna come back to you. Let Simon summarize. Listen to Simon's summary of this, what he's saying, and then I want your opinion on what he's saying when I come back to you. Yannick, and shout out to Yannick's baby girl, Brooke. She's 7 years old today. I already told her happy birthday. Little snaggle mouth, little cutie pie. I didn't know she had that much hair, Yannick. Man, she was in there with her daddy. And Brooke hair was down. I said, Lord have mercy, that thick head of hair that baby got. I said, can I borrow some of your hair? She politely told me, no.
Oh boy. That's how. Listen, like the look. I have so much appreciation for women, right? Because I've had 3 children, and I've been at the birth of all of them, right? You cannot, to an extent, tell women how to operate. They're just not gonna listen to you. There's this whole sort of thing because they don't listen to you not for a man's reason. They don't listen to you for a woman's reason. The woman's reason is because they understand that men do not understand how women operate, and it's just it's as simple as that.
So you don't believe women listen to men? That's what you're trying to say?
Yes, listen. Men are not gonna push a baby out of their vagina.
I don't have to push a baby out to understand.
You're not gonna push a baby out of your butthole. Like, that's not gonna happen.
It's biologically impossible for a man to have a baby. Period.
Yes, exactly. So that's the trunk.
I thought you were summarizing for Chris. What happened?
Yeah, she wants you to go back and summarize your point you were making.
Unless you know it, can you summarize it really quick? Because it might take him a little bit long.
Man, listen. If I summarize it, I'm gonna make Simon mad because I'll do it. I'll summarize it. Simon said that kids should have equal rights.
I'm here for you.
Because Simon might veer off.
Simon said that children should have equal rights as adults, and that you should never fuss at them at all.
Yes.
And if you do not tell them what to do.
Yes.
Because when you do that, you are just taking out your fucked up aggression on them. And that's the only reason you say anything to them.
Yes.
And you're a damn bully.
Yes.
And you should be canceled.
Yes.
That's the summary. That's it. Simon, how did I do? Did I do all right?
Perfect. Perfect.
So Yannick, what do you think about that?
It's Chris. You were summarizing for Chris.
Chris, based on what I just said, my bad, Chris. What do you think about that? That really was his summary for it. Like that's it. He didn't say it exactly like that, but those were the foundational points.
That one's a tough one. Okay. Should you never fuss at you have to have a certain level of authority over your children, and you do have to express that authority with a certain tone And you do have to kind of tell your children what to do because they
don't know.
They don't quite know yet, but it's not in the sense of you're being rude to them, right? Like you give them curfews and maybe you explain to them why they have a curfew. You tell them you're home by this time, but you do it in an authoritative way because they don't really have a choice, right? You don't really have a choice, but I think there's a line between being a dictator, as John was saying, and just being the experienced person in that relationship, like just being the parent, the guider, the guardian. Like you're there to protect your child. You don't want your child to die before you do, you know. You're trying to give them the tools they need to survive after you die. And so there are certain things that you have to tell them to do in order to keep them safe to a certain extent. But do I think that there are things that parents tell their children to do simply because they had bad experiences and those things are not justifiable? I do agree with that. I see that quite a bit. And my mom, she ran a daycare almost my entire life. So I've seen a lot of different parents and how they discipline their children. And a lot of the things that they would do, I would say wasn't justifiable. So yeah, I can see both points. I think there's a happy medium, but just kind of, I fall more so on the side of just being polite with your children, treating them like they are human, like they're going to be adults one day. I don't think that will cause them to turn out crazy.
So, are you anticipating having children?
Mm-hmm.
Yannick. Simon.
I thought you were talking to Chris. My bad.
No, Chris just finished. Yannick, what do you think?
Of the plan of just treating children like adults and letting them do whatever the hell they want.
Pretty much.
They're not gonna have no children left. They're gonna kill themselves.
What?
They're gonna kill themselves.
What?
The whole purpose of a parent.
What?
Is to make sure the child don't kill themselves.
What?
For the first 5 years.
What?
Of course you gotta be a bully.
What?
What are you talking about?
What?
You want them to die? The hell?
What are you talking about?
For the first 5 years of their life, you are the bully. You are that person.
No.
Or else your child will be dead.
Listen. What?
You know how much stuff there is? Do you know how much things there are that can happen?
What?
Simon, really?
What are you talking about? Is that how you dealt
talking about?
Is that how you dealt with your children?
I have 2 children. I have a boy and I have a girl.
Is that how you dealt with your children?
From 1 to 5, they listen to everything I say.
Where's the baby
At
father?
7,
Where's
my daughter, before she answers a question,
is at work.
She looks to me before she answers anybody, before she agrees to anything, if I'm sitting there, she's looking at me first to make sure it's okay to talk.
Your husband's in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, my husband's in the house.
Good. Nice.
Yeah, she got balanced kids. She got great kids.
Nice.
So
nice,
Simon,
nice.
I think that's fair what Neek says. Does that go against what you were saying? Is that
at least from 1 to 5?
I say from 1 to 17, they can kill themselves.
So ask me a question.
17-year-olds are wild. But yes, what Neek said.
From 1 to 5 is basically making sure they don't kill themselves. From 5 on, then
right. Oh.
You should, you know, it's more of a, you're showing them, they're watching you, you're developing a routine, you know, because by the time you get to like 10 or 11, if they're not listening to you by 5 or 4 or 3 or whatever, by 10 or 11, they ain't gonna give a hell what you saying. So if you already have them under the not control, but if you already have them really valuing your opinion about things, because they know that you're going to lead them in the right direction because you have up to now. They're not dead. You know what I'm saying? They're happy. They're getting candy. They go to school. They have friends. So if they was following you up to now and you haven't led them wrong and you are in their lives and you are directing them, by the time they're 10 or 11, they're going to listen to you then. But if you haven't, 11, 12, you know, the teenage years, they're not listening to you at all.
And that's when you start running.
You have to take that. Because if you don't, how can you direct them?
You can't.
How can you
never had
show
any
them
control?
What they're supposed to do in order to survive in this world?
What's kind of important?
If they're not going to listen to you.
It's that 0 to 6 months, because like you can't give your child anything. Like you can't do anything, and you have to do the whole sterilization thing, like in terms of the bottles.
Yeah, they can't have honey.
You can't do paracetamol. What's that, Calpol or whatever? I don't know what you use over there, but it's just like like as adults, like we can take certain things to make us sort of like be normal on a day-to-day life. But when you have a child from 0 to 6 months, you can't even take them to the doctor, and like the doctor's gonna like provide some sort of answer. Like you can't.
Why?
You're supposed to take them to the doctor. What do you mean? A month after a week or two after my son was home, he was at the doctor's office.
Yeah, they got to get their
shot.
Why?
They don't go nowhere else. They have to go to the doctor.
Why was that?
Because you got to do your 2-week follow-up. The wife, the mom, and the baby have to get a follow-up.
No, what are you talking about? Are you talking about a weigh-in?
Mom and baby getting a follow-up after 2 weeks. Yes.
What I'm talking about is if they have a cold or something. Let's say we've been in this world for the last 2 years. If they have a cold or something, like what's your remedy?
You have infancy. There's infant. There's for fever breakers. Most moms, I'm not gonna get all into it, but I mean, I'm in the South, and we have home remedies. If the baby has a fever, you can take the baby. There are infant fever reducers you can give them. You can, you can take them to the doctor. Let the doctor be. But if they catch a virus, even if they're 5 or 6 years old, the doctor's gonna tell them let the virus play it out. Make sure they have plenty of liquids. Because there's no cure for a virus. Only thing you can do is treat some of the symptoms, mainly the fever, and that's it. But the role of a man. So I want to applaud Simon because it's obvious that Simon is a part of his children's life. Not all men, we can say that. So that's a big deal. Going back to being held accountable.
Thank you.
Because there was, even though me and you have 2 different parenting styles, that's a fact.
Yeah.
But I mean, you had my son in dissonance over. He was rolling like, oh my God, Dad's gonna snap out because he knows. Just earlier today, he and I were sitting down, and right now he's 13, so he's going through financial literacy just like I did with my 19-year-old. He's learning, about the percentages you put back out of your check, the savings, paying yourself first, how much you should tithe, how much you should, how to choose the right car, how much, how to not live from check to check. And he came to the conclusion with this scenario I gave him. He came to the conclusion that he was going to use math a lot more than what he thought, especially when we started doing percentages. And he also came to the conclusion that $17 an hour is not any money, and he can't live off that. He wants to work in the STEM profession because he does not. Because when we finished paying bills and he saw the amount of money that was left when I was showing him he's in a scenario, he was like, "Oh, this is not going to work for me." So I said that
to Bill Cosby, huh?
That's what I was going to say. Do the Bill Cosby.
Yeah,
Hey, Bill Cosby, goddamn.
I did not have to say anything else.
No, Bill Cosby is not. He's not going to be known forever for just like, drugging somebody. That's what the white motherfucking media wants you to.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to tell you is, Bill Cosby is when he was teaching his son about staying in school in the Cosby Show. He used Monopoly money and said, "Okay, how much you gonna make as a bus driver? How much your rent gonna be?" And then he didn't have that much money left, so that's what
Bill Cosby gave so much to the black community. You guys do not understand. That's wrong.
Yeah. He made
wrong.
Bill Cosby is the one who set up. It's a lot of black actors and actresses that wouldn't have jobs now if it wasn't for him.
Oh yeah,
I know. But what I'm saying is, when I say Bill Cosby, you naturally think of him drugging people.
A lot of shit.
That's what I think about it.
No, I'm only focused on the positive when it comes to Bill Cosby. But I had to make cream of wheat. That's why I'm running late. I had a taste for it. So sorry, y'all. And to correct Doc said it's impossible for a man to have a child.
It's
earlier.
impossible for a man to have a child.
You know that has changed since May, right?
No.
Okay.
It is
I'll give you a minute.
Impossible for a man to have a baby.
Well, that changed since May of this year.
He didn't have a baby, right? He just had a uterus implanted.
Right. So now the test is coming as far as
He didn't have the baby yet.
Not yet, but it's coming.
He just had a uterus implanted in him.
Yeah.
Listen to me. Carl, you think you slick. You know, Carl. I thought we was better than that.
We are, bro. But I pay attention to what's going on around me.
And I'm not going to get that man canceled. But
I am paying attention to everything around me.
Drop me the fuck out. Man.
So I'm not even going to comment. I'm just going to let you know what. I got another reaction video. I'm just going to let that be.
Go ahead, do that.
I got another reaction video. I'm telling you, Carl. I got another reaction video.
Uh-oh. Not to surprise me no more. Not at this age of the game.
You. Oh man.
Peace to CKQ. Clement, thank you for allowing us to do this, Clement. I'm gonna say that in my British accent. Thank you, Clement.
You don't read minds. If you consistently asking your wife what's wrong, she's not telling you.
We can't see anything.
Nah, I know.
Oh, I thought you was playing it.
Nah.
So what was the question? What is the role of a man in 2022?
Yeah.
Has any
don't have a role.
Women be wives?
He was stripped of his role. 2022. The man was the role of a man been stripped since 2021, before the pandemic. Oops. I might.
Now I want y'all to listen to this video closely, because it's gonna set you up for the very next question.
I'm out of here for a second. I can't be part of this. You know this.
She's not giving you any type of inkling of what's going on. You begging her, let's go to the doctor, let's see this, let's try this out, let's do this, and it's still no proper compliance. No sir. I'm sorry. We are all adults. But it's, who's leading who and this and that. At the end of the day, if I was leading an army of 1,000 soldiers and I had 500 of my soldiers get ill, and I go to my soldiers and I ask them plain and square, what's going on? How do you feel? Why can't you move? What's going on? And they decide not to tell me anything, or beat around the bush, or just not get truthful with the situation, or just want to play around. What are you supposed to do? Cut them necks. Period. Cut them necks. It makes no sense. It's not what you do. I'm not a mind reader, and I'm not gonna guess upon you. If I ask you legitimately, what is going on, what is wrong. I expect you to give me a logical answer like a mature adult supposed to. Let's not play these games. Nobody has time for your insecurities or your shakiness or your stupidity realm that you want to sit in while everybody else is continuously trying to live life. Nobody has time to play these kitty ass games. Bro.
All right. So now,
what's wrong with that dude?
What I'm gonna tell you what's going on. All right. It's my next question. That's what's going on. That's why I started it there. I didn't want to start it and give my next question away. Y'all ready for this question?
Yeah.
Trigger alert. A woman can make a man cheat, fact or cap? Holla at me. Get at me. Get at me. Let me know.
Is this supposed to be my trigger?
No. But it is a trigger for a lot of women. Fact or cap? Because you got some women who don't believe it. You got some women who believe it. I'm just saying.
Who believes what? Or don't believe what?
A woman can
see that question right there going across the screen?
Or cap. Is it a fact or is it a cap? Somebody getting triggered out there.
I can't read. A woman, I'm sorry, y'all. A woman can make a man cheat on her. Fact or no. Hell no. Hell no. That's your brain cell. That's your no. Nobody can make you do anything. Much less a woman. A woman can't make you cheat. You cheat because you want to cheat. That could be lack of communication. That could be lack of understanding, patience, wording, approach, tone. It's a whole lot of things, man.
What if she ain't giving you no booty?
Well, then why did you get with her in the first place?
Y'all married. Now, just to let you know, this is talking about married people. I ain't talking about nobody who's dating.
Oh, okay.
To live together. I'm talking about a married couple. Married couple. You're married.
Right.
Married.
And all of a sudden she changed up.
With you for 2 years. You done took her to the doctor. That's what he was talking about. You done took her to the doctor. You won't tell him what's wrong. The doctor don't know what's going on with her. And she ain't gave you none in 2 years, and now you want a divorce.
Okay, that's his option. If he ain't
doctor
getting
didn't know what was wrong. That's what he said.
Can't really, because she ain't really opening up to the doctor either.
Huh. So
that's where this question come from. A woman can make you cheat on her, fact or cap.
Nah, that's not grounds for cheating, because like I said, first you exhaust all remedies. Find out, was she molested? Was she assaulted? Is it something mental, physical? There's so many different things. Exhaust that remedy before you decide to cheat on her. Get rid of her. If you exhaust all remedies and nothing has worked, and you've exercised as much diligence and patience, and it's at that level, then divorce and go about your business, get it somewhere else. But cheating is never an excuse, though.
I actually know personally the guy who has a wife who does not like sex that much, like who doesn't like to have sex that much, and it's biological.
I know people with lupus too don't like sex.
Similar to something that I have as well. It's called polycystic ovary syndrome.
Oh.
And it does decrease your sex drive.
Okay.
Sometimes it's biological. Maybe, it wasn't for her since she wasn't talking. Maybe it was mental. Maybe it was trauma. I don't know. You want to talk to the doctors. You want to talk to him. Who knows? But
and
I don't think
that's if she understands that she may be having what you just said, but she may not have processed that yet.
That's whether it's biological, whether it's mental, whether they just don't want to give it to you. Just freaking leave. If you don't want to be with this person because they're not giving you sex because that's your reason, you ain't giving me sex, so I want to have sex with somebody else. All right, well then leave me.
Leave,
That's
and
what y'all
then go have sex.
That's what it should be. But if in the beginning they never said that, then you know what I'm saying. But in the beginning they said, you know what? Instead of cheating, just come tell me. Tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
But you know, it depends.
I'm questioning their communication from the time they got married, prior to marriage, after they was married. I'm really questioning their communication on both parts. And if she was the one that was reserved and not talking about it, not doing nothing about it, and he's the one, I hate to say put up with it, but riding with it, and 2 years went by, then hey.
Chris, what you think? Fact or cap?
I think it's a fact.
Oh,
what?
I don't think.
Chris.
Hold on.
I think.
No, she did. No, she did go against the women. Oh,
no,
shit.
Chris.
Get beat up.
I'm shocked, Chris.
I think the word made or make is the wrong word to use, but I think, can a woman push her man to step out?
Oh,
yes.
semantics. Come on, Chris.
But that's what I would say, because okay, the idea is, and I don't really think it has necessarily everything to do with how much she's sexually satisfying her husband. I think it has a lot to do with peace. Like if he doesn't like to come home to you at the end of the day, or if he can't express his desires and achievements to you, if he can't be himself around you, if you don't give him the space to be his masculine self, if you don't help him feel manly, if you don't show that you appreciate him, show gratitude, yes, I do think that he may be more tempted to go to a woman that will give him those things. So made or make, I do think that's kind of like, that's a bit too far, but do I think that women can share some responsibility in their husband stepping out? And can it be vice versa? Can a husband share responsibility in his wife stepping out? I think yes. I do think that it is the spouse's responsibility to try their best to keep their other spouse satisfied. And I think there are things that we can do to try to keep the marriage as strong as possible. And does that mean that you do everything right and he's never going to cheat? Obviously, no. That's not what I'm saying. But I do think that there are things that women and men can do to try to keep their spouse as satisfied as possible, to keep their husbands wanting to step out or wives wanting to step out or being tempted to step out as low as possible. It's not something that I would never consider. My goal is to do as much as I possibly can to keep everything as smooth as possible.
You see why so many men are willing to chime in on this shit? Because it's just like, the fact of the matter is most women are not about to do that shit.
I'm shocked that Chris even went against the women and given a man a path. Like, Chris.
I didn't give men a pass. Don't flip my words around. I did not give men a pass.
Yes.
I did not give men a pass. I did nowhere in my statement did I say that it's okay for a man to cheat. Nowhere did I say it's okay for a man to cheat. I just said that women have a responsibility to try to satisfy their husbands and vice versa. And if you
not women, the wife.
If there are certain things that we can do to try our best to maintain a healthy marriage, because sometimes when you don't meet your responsibilities as a wife, he may be more tempted to step out. That's what I said. I did not give anyone a pass. Adultery is adultery. I didn't say
get that, Chris.
No.
Hold on. I get what you just said. I only have 2 words: dick discipline. Dick discipline. You can be tempted all you want. When you're married, you're gonna see a lot of ladies walk by looking cute. You're gonna see big booties. But how do you react to that temptation? Dick discipline. Just because you see it, don't mean you have to do something about it. That's why I said you're giving them a pass.
This is the difficulty about having these types of conversations. Just because I said that people can have a responsibility in keeping their marriages happy and strong does not mean that I'm saying men shouldn't have discipline. These things can mutually exist. I can work hard in my marriage, right? Trying to make sure the other party is satisfied because I care about their well-being, without eliminating the fact that he should also have discipline. He also has certain morals and values that he should upkeep. All I'm saying is that people are flawed. So do I have certain responsibilities in my marriage to try and to maintain some peace, to maintain some happiness, to maintain satisfaction? Yes. And if I slip on those responsibilities, there may be consequences to that. That's all I'm saying. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be sex. He could just be forming another relationship before exiting this one, planning his exit in this one. That's also really awful. But the reason why he's planning his exit is because I was a terrible wife to him and didn't make him feel comfortable in his own home.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Isn't that like shifting the blame though from discipline to it's her fault?
Both of them can coexist. They both can. All I'm saying is we both have a role in this. You should have discipline, but I should not make it harder for you to have discipline. It's like telling a fat person, don't eat, but then waving a hamburger in their face. I'm saying I can just not wave the hamburger in their face, but if they go out the way and they eat, they should obviously have their own discipline, but I'm not going to make it harder for them to maintain their own personal discipline. That's all I'm saying.
That takes Nia Long out the picture.
Can we just say for a second that you know, the lady on the panel is far and few between what we naturally experience. Like, we gotta be real about that. Like, I mean, you guys are coming up here and you're taking your shots and whatnot, and you're shouting and talking, and like talking to her like she's a woman that is, you know, walking these streets in a particular type of way that you may manifest your anger towards. But the fact of the matter is she's not, right? This lady up here is a lady. Like, I can acknowledge that from overseas. Like, she's a damn lady. So please give her some sort of respect. That's what I'm saying. Because, you know, it's, you know, it takes a lot for a woman to come up on a panel with men, period, and just take their viewpoints and, you know, whatnot. And we all respect that. But I'm just saying, like, believing she's something else. So look, I ain't about to hear that shit. I'm sorry.
Well, let me ask you this. I want to hear what you got to say, because I agree with everything you just said. Chris is a lady. Yannick is a lady. And Chris does. She shakes it out fair. She'll let us know. She acknowledges, you know, the women's side, and she gives great unbiased opinions on that, and she acknowledges the men's side. She gives unbiased opinions on that too. She doesn't really jump on one side and ride it all the way home unless there's a reason for her to ride particular points all the way home. And when it is, she will ride it. She will ride it off into the sunset. It ain't shit like at all, period. But on this one, she made a good point. I'm gonna tell you mine in a minute on the end. But Simon, fact or cap? A woman can make a man cheat on her. What is it? Talk to me.
Yes.
Damn, that was quick. What?
Yes.
You shot my ass on that one. I ain't gonna lie, boy. I ain't gonna lie. You shot the hell out of me on that one. I was like, that was a for real shocker. Like, you got me. Because, hey, look, man. I
ain't tripping. I ain't tripping in a second. These men out here, look, I put up a whole oh boy, look. Okay, you got me right now. You got me right now. Okay, shit. Boy, listen. There are certain women that will do some fucked up shit to you. They will do some fucked up shit to you.
What?
Because they will, because they ain't being raised by daddies. They ain't being raised in a certain type of way. And even if they didn't have daddies, they might have had, like, you know, the perfect mama. But the thing the way, look, there's a space, right? Okay, so we're now in 2022. I'll say take about 2025 for us to get our shit straight, for us to get our heads straight, because we were raised by women. And as much as you guys want to come out here and play this bullshit, like, oh yeah, we're hard men, oh we're alpha men, oh we're this, that, the other, oh we're on to get in the gym and all this. No, you're feminine as fuck. Like, at the end of the day, what it is you don't know how to actually operate. You don't know how to operate because you were raised by a female. Get it straight. Get it down in your pocket boot. Look, listen. Pick up a fucking diary and start writing that shit down. Your first days that you remembered in life. I see whole niggas out here getting haircuts. Going, you might as well turn the barber shop into a hairstylist shop, hair salon. You niggas are wrong, and you want to come out here talking some bullshit.
But I'm trying to figure out
I am
how
too.
does that relate to a man being raised by one? How does that relate to the question at hand of being forced to cheat?
Because
or influenced to cheat or tempted to cheat.
Why do baby mothers exist?
Why does baby mamas exist?
Yes.
You don't want the answer to that question.
You asked me the question about cheating, right?
I did. I'm waiting on the answer.
Whoever asked me the question about cheating. So the cheating thing comes from insecurity, and it comes from the fact that they were raised by insecure parents. So now you're in that household. Now that's what you're susceptible to. Now that's what you're portraying to the external world, and that's now the bullshit that we have to do.
Oh shit! Okay, now I got you. Simon, boy, speak. Simon said some shit then. Now I got him now.
I'm trying to figure it out. How does that relate?
That's that sniper shot, boy. Take your shot. Let me tell you what happened. All right, Simon, I'm gonna watch this. Because the amount of fathers have exited the house, more and more niggas are being raised by single women. So regardless of all that bullshit we talking on this panel about, a woman can't make you get bullshit. You gonna cheat if she ain't giving you no ass because you are naturally insecure and you need that you need that woman out there in them streets to make you feel better about who the fuck you are because you were raised by a single woman and this shit missing that you don't have that a father would have given you had they been present. So you are more likely to fucking cheat if this woman don't give you no ass than a woman than anybody else because you have that fucking insecurity. Now he put it that way.
That is a bunch of bullshit, Doc.
That's where he at.
That's a bunch of bullshit, Doc. Come on now. Really? That's a bunch of bullshit. I mean, okay, let me get this straight. So, if your daddy was an alcoholic, you're gonna grow up as more likely that you're gonna be an alcoholic.
No, wait, stop. No, it's not about being an alcoholic. It's about just being straight. It's about like the fact of the matter is, it is what it is. You got to acknowledge what it is. It's not like going into some other realm and going, oh, so your daddy's an alcoholic. This is some straight.
No, what I'm trying to let me
put it back up. Simon,
let me simplify what I just said. What you're saying is accountability is not transferable, or it is transferable, because I don't care who you was raised by, how you was raised, or whatever. The accountability still starts with self to make conscious decisions to do the
It
right
doesn't.
thing or the wrong
No,
thing.
no. It doesn't start. No.
Wait, Simon, wait. Let Carl finish. Then I'm gonna give you a chance to.
No, go ahead. I'm trying to understand.
All right, now, Simon, take up for yourself. Go. Round 2, fight. Go, Simon, go.
All right. So what I'm saying is, you're trying to say that accountability starts with yourself, when it does not start with yourself. And this is the problem with our community. You seem to think that it starts with yourself, when it starts with the person that raised you. You want to turn around and start acting like a big person right now, just based on the fact that you're raised and you're old and you're in this situation and this, what, the other. But the fact of the matter is like, we're raised by people, right?
You got a good point there.
You're not accountable for that. Who put the cornflakes? Listen, I wake up in the morning, right? I gotta put my cornflakes on my daughter's table, or she tells me, "Daddy, I'm hungry." Now, who put the cornflakes on your table?
Oh,
right. At the end of the day, you can't do that. You can't talk like that. You're so in your adult mode that you're like missed. You're forgetting where we're at and what we're trying to become and what we are aspiring to be. Because the people that put you here, you have no fucking respect for. Because you're so in your own deep 4 feet deep shit. It's like, I ain't even got 6 feet tall shit going on. I've got 4 feet shit going on. I can't even remember what my mum done. I can't even remember what my dad done. I can't even remember none of that shit. Oh, I'm gonna just try to fight everybody. This is not a fight. Get amongst our black people, bro.
All right. Now, going back to the first part of what he was saying, I was with him. He ran away from me a little bit. That goddamn last part.
I'm sorry.
Fucked me up. But I know where he was going in the first part of it. Now, Carl, you got to think about something.
I'm trying.
Now, listen to me now, because you know this is my thing. I'm following Simon like a motherfucker. This is my specialty right here, developmental. Listen.
Okay.
Remember when are you even 40 yet?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Do you remember when you started to age? And be honest with what some thoughts was going through your fucking mind. And then don't say them out loud. Just remember. Because I remember. You understand? I remember. And when a sweet little chickie do, you know what I'm saying, about 28, 29, compliments that fucking gray and says you look distinguished and mature, like your life is together. That is so sexy. Are you single? Now you gotta understand, she found it in a motherfucker. How did that make you feel? And don't lie.
Sexy.
Wow, I have a don't give a damn. Oh Lord, I have a don't give a damn type mentality. I mean, it's either it works or it don't work. I don't harbor. I don't let things linger. I just keep moving. So if I'm understanding the question correctly, I was raised by both parents. Both of them are passed. What they did or didn't do, whatever information they put in me growing up and all that, some of it I accepted it, some of it I rejected. However, as time and life took on, I've also incorporated my own thoughts, my own experiences, and what I could say what would be, work smarter, not harder. And it has worked for me through the years. That's why I've never drank, never did drugs, nothing like that. Even though I was around people that drink a lot, like my dad, even though I was around people that smoke weed, like most of my friends.
Exactly.
But that doesn't mean that I incorporated that. Now, like, I'm gonna use the example like you said about cornflakes. I was raised in a household where every morning breakfast was made for me before I went to school. But these two knuckleheads don't eat breakfast before they go to school. So it's not a carrying trait. What I was saying was accountability starts with itself, is because you choose to accept or reject whatever input is coming into your brain cell. Whatever your parents taught you, your grandmother, what your friends influence you to believe, social media, TV, whatever. You choose to accept or reject it. And you choose to incorporate it or not incorporate it.
That's false.
But
Okay.
what Simon is saying is this: accountability is learned. You don't come out naturally accountable.
Of course not.
You come out naturally being a fucking liar. You have to learn accountability over time. Like babies lie, the infants lie. Sometimes the infant will cry just to see if your ass is in the house.
True.
I'm being a bit deep. Like, I'm serious, like, but I'm being.
But we're talking about now that when you get older, past 21, now you're at actually before 21, but after 21, accountability is nothing more than knowing the consequences. If I go left, this is what can happen. If I go right, this is what can go happen.
Yeah, but it ain't gonna make any sort of difference.
Okay.
Like, because the fact of the matter is you are you, and the problem with most of people is you can't accept that. You can't accept the fact that you are you. Like you're gonna know. Like, you're gonna think at the end of the day, like, if I'm gonna get in this car, like, and like drive it down this freeway, I might get stopped by the cops. Now, why do you think that?
I don't think that.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying you think that. I'm just saying most black people might think that. Like, so let's say.
Okay.
It don't have to be black. It can be any person.
It could be any person, right? So you're driving down the freeway and you're like, I'm just having a blast. Might be a Saturday or Friday, and it's like, oh yeah. I'm at a free time. At the back of your mind, you're thinking, I might get pulled up by the cops. Why do you think that? The only reason you think that is because you're doing that stuff. The thing about males and females, which I really admire about females, is they don't pull up on that shit. They don't do that sort of shit. They never get caught. They never.
Wait. What they don't do? Speed down the highway or cheat?
Listen, they just don't do that shit. Like, they can get away with the utmost bullshit, and they damn well know about it. Males, on the other hand, they will test it. They will test it.
Oh,
and they'll try to pull that boogie woogie, like to try and impress a female. It's just no. It doesn't work. No, you can't impress a female. Don't try to impress females, young people. Don't.
Simon, come on, man.
It's actually. I'm sorry, Simon.
Go ahead.
Oh.
Respond to Simon.
It's just the last part's kind of funny because it's kind of true. Because there's this study, and it's not funny. It's not. The study itself isn't funny, but just the fact that he said it the way he did was funny. But there's a study where it's not a study, but they basically looked over male and female mortality rates and like the ages at which they die. And young boys are more likely to die at earlier ages because they're more risky. And based on like evolutionary psychology, the reason why the men are more risky is because they're trying to prove to the females that they can do more things. Like, they're basically trying to show what they're capable of to try and prove that they're a better mate for the women. So that was just an interesting point.
That's a good point. And I'm glad you brought evolution and psychology, because I'm about to turn this panel upside down now. I'm about to really make some motherfuckers mad. Who the fuck said I'm supposed to be faithful to you? Who said that my dick is only for you? Because it's in my instincts to fuck more than one woman.
Oh my God.
That's why men do not get
Oh boy.
emotionally attached
I don't.
to women.
Mm.
See, when we fuck,
Okay.
I don't have to even know your first and last name. I just need
Okay.
not to be fat, have a good looking body, be disease free, and we can fuck.
Oh,
and sometimes 2 of them motherfuckers ain't got to be there.
Oh boy.
We found that out last week for one of them. And I mean, when a person say a man will fuck a damn rattlesnake if you take the teeth out and hold his mouth open, I don't think you gotta take the fucking teeth out.
It's better like that, guys.
So who says? Where did you learn that a man's dick is only for you? Where did you learn that?
It's also evolutionary psychology. Do you know monogamous?
I'm not even gonna answer that.
What'd you say? Revolutionary psychology? What?
Evolution.
I'm gonna come around your ass next. You next on the chopping block. I wanna hear what you got to say about this.
Evolutionary.
Well, monogamous societies are actually more stable than polyamorous or polygamous societies.
Yes, indeed.
Polygamous societies, what happens is there ends up being a surplus of men, basically. So basically only the strongest or the most financially stable men actually end up with the women, and so you end up with a bunch of of men that are basically very volatile, or to a certain extent, I wouldn't say useless, but you have to find different uses. Like they have to figure out where else these men can fit. So what's interesting is that one of the reasons why it's important to lean more towards monogamy is actually because it creates a more stable society.
Did you say useless?
Useless. Oh, at first, yeah. Useless for them.
All right, Carl, I'm gonna come around to you in a minute.
No, go ahead.
I'm gonna come around to you in just a second. I'm gonna say something to what she just said, because she said, I want you to say that part again, Chris. The part about the men being in surplus. Who was the only man to get the booty? Who was it? The men.
They have to be well off. They have to be able to afford it, because it's only polygamy that really works. So you have to meet the standards of that society. So some standards, you have to be able to purchase another home for that wife. They're not gonna, because you can't have all of the women living in one house. That is also very volatile. So typically you have to be financially well off. You have to be a stronger man, some form of with pretty high status, well known, because the dad, has to give you permission to marry his wife. So.
Okay. Hold on. Before anybody say anything.
I agree with Chris.
Hold on. Watch this. Yes. Watch this shit. You ready? Why do 4-legged fucking animals get it right then? Because they only breed with the strong ones. They let the weak ones die off, and their genetics don't get passed.
Yo, we go.
Why do the 4-legged? Hold on. Keep on this. Why do the 4-legged animals get it right? Because we're all animals. Why is it that the 4-legged animals get it right?
I relate
because
to
the lion is the perfect example of what Chris talking about. Only the powerful one get to pass their genetics. The ones who lose that fight, their kids get killed immediately, so they cannot pass the genetics, and they get the entire pride. They get all the lionesses in that pride.
Well, I can answer that question.
Okay, go ahead, Carl.
The lions are not subject to criminal law. Okay? Or civil law or divorce, So it's a big difference. I agree with what Chris said, hit it on the nail. And I've said this before. It's easy to talk about having a group of women and conquering a bunch of women or whatever. I can fuck more than one woman. But then when you talk about money, a lot of people get silent because, yes, you want to have 5 women, you got to buy each one of them a car, each one of them their own house, and take care of their kid. That's what make black men, for the most part, stop the rhetoric, because they want the poly lifestyle. But they can't afford it. That's one. 2, they're not mentally even qualified to be in that realm. You can't keep a one woman relationship, monogamous relationship.
Right there. Hold on, Simon. Hold on.
You can't keep You can't keep a one woman type relationship going on. How the hell you gonna maintain 3, 4, 5? Each one is on a different cycle, different birthdays, different attitudes and upbringings, and so knock it off. You're just in it for your undisciplined dick. That's it.
Nicely said. Now, Simon, what you gonna say?
No, I was saying like I kind of see what he was saying, because you can't have 3, 4, 5. That's not happening. Like
most niggas can't have 2.
You can't. Like
even 2. Same thing.
You can't. Like not. I don't know.
And you'll have some nigga that watch this video and be like, shit, I got 2 right now. Nah, nigga, if they held you to the standards,
they changed.
If they held you to the
exactly
standards,
that's crazy.
Standards, nigga, you can't have those 2.
A woman will consume you in a second. Like, stop it. Like, no. Like,
the only listen.
You won't be able to, the only reason he can have 2 is because she probably she already know you just got some good dick. Like she don't want.
Yeah,
and that's it.
For real.
She's probably like, laundry.
She's not making your
she's
ass
like,
pay the
she's
mortgage, but the car note at both houses. No, she's paying her own.
Laundry
Thursday. Hit.
Today we talk lunchtime. Okay.
Right.
12 hours.
Right. And she
2
got
hours.
a nigga who she's actually gonna marry, but she's just playing around with you for right now. That's all that is.
Yeah.
But going back to the question. Yannick, are you there?
Yannick.
She busy. She probably trying to restream.
No, I'm here.
You here?
I'm here.
All right. Fact or cap? A woman can make a man cheat on her. Fact or cap?
Fucking cap shit.
Fucking cap, nigga. Fucking cap. Okay then, fucking cap. All right, talk to me. Why?
Because at the end of the day, you controlling where that dick is going. In the end of the day,
Ding ding. Accountability.
Nobody control it but you. You
That's
had
right.
to stick it in there. Ain't nobody else. She ain't lift it up for you and put it in there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
The woman got control of that.
That's right. Dick discipline.
Like, I agree in the sense of that when a situation happens, human nature happens to people, right? Not saying that it's something that should happen, but yes, I understand human nature, and I understand that some men don't have dick discipline, as Carl put it, and they're gonna give in to the shit. So
some women don't have pussy discipline, but it's the same thing.
But that's not what we're talking about right now.
We fucked women up last week, bro. We fucking up the men this week. We talking about women last week. We fucking up the men this week.
I'm sorry.
Anyway,
I agree with you. Come on, dog.
To me, that's crazy to like say a woman could just make a man cheat. No, if you want to cheat, what I do is not gonna matter. I could be making you come at breakfast, and you could be going to your job, and somebody else could be making you come for lunch. It don't fucking matter.
That's right.
I think the idea, like, all of those can be true, but I think so. I think back to this. There's this TV show that was on in the 90s. It's called Sex and the City. And there was this episode, well, actually, I think it's the movie where this happened. The husband to the woman named Miranda, she was a lawyer. She worked a lot. She neglected her body quite a bit, and she stopped sleeping with her husband. She hadn't slept with him in 6 months. And he was a really good husband to her. But he cheated one time. He held himself accountable by coming to her and saying what happened. He understood whatever decision she made, if she wanted to leave or not. He apologized. all of that good stuff. And the rest of I can't remember if it was an episode or the movie. I think it was a movie. They kind of went through her processing him cheating. And throughout the movie, she realized that she had some accountability in it as well. It didn't take away his accountability, right? He felt awful. He felt guilty. He dealt with it. He explained to the therapist what he did. He worked through his problems. But she realized that she also had some responsibility, some accountability in the fact that he even was feeling the way that he was feeling, to lead him, not lead him, but to, I guess, in a sense, lead him
to even be
step
tempted.
out, to be tempted.
He had to be in need.
Yes. So I guess the point is, I think that the issue is a lot of people don't know what they'll do when they're desperate, right? And it's really hard to remember your principles and that level of discipline in times of desperation. I'm not like, the other person can still be held accountable and they could still have been disciplined for many, many years, but I'm saying people slip. And it doesn't mean that the woman should completely neglect or not consider things that she might have done that may have contributed to that weakness. What I'm saying is sometimes there are men that cheat just because they want to, but sometimes men cheat because it's a symptom of a much larger issue.
No.
No, so I understand that human nature. That's what I was saying.
I love this.
Listen,
I love this blanket.
I was just clarifying for
No, wait. Even though it's the man's decision to, it's his ultimate decision to stick his dick in somebody else's pussy. It's not somebody else.
No.
I believe that, but
You're 100% right.
I also believe in human nature. If you starve someone, somebody come by with a freaking cracker, they're gonna fucking take it.
Why do you guys?
You have to be accountable in that sense of I contributed to that situation. Yes, but did I make that person cheat? Hell no.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Simon.
Because the options were divorce and then go out and get somebody else. Or communicate and try to seek help together so you can try to recapture or get it, because I'm sure you had sex with him before you got married.
Listen, yo, you guys, right? Are you all single?
Oh.
All of y'all on the
No,
panel?
I'm married.
No.
3 married ladies' opinions. I'm married.
I'm just saying for anyone that's single, right? Ain't like until you get married, I don't really think I don't know how to put this because I don't really want to draw towards any.
It sounds more like it's going to be a generalized question, if I'm not mistaken, because you got to remember one factor that you may ignore before you say what you're going to say.
Yeah,
people get married for a lot of different reasons.
I was trying to get, I was trying to get some feedback. That's
so it can't be generalized, lady, because everybody gets married for different reasons.
I'm just saying, like, because when you're married and in sex, you know, certain people have marriages and sex is different in different types of marriages.
Oh,
yes.
We got a question out here. And the question is from Snuggles668. What's up, Snuggles? Thanks for chiming in. Are men polyamorous by nature? Yes or no? And please explain. Or no, women polygamous by nature? Who wants to try that question out? Simon, you want to answer that?
What's the question?
Are men polyamorous by nature? Yes or no? And please explain. Are women polygamous by nature? Yes or no, please explain. Please do not talk about the minority, only majority.
Oh my god, she really thought about this. So like,
So each
no,
panelist will go around and give their own answer to it. But Simon, start with you. Go ahead.
yeah, I know. Look, I know what I am, and I appreciate you for having me on this platform. And certain people are going to chime in, and they're going to like be throwing some crazy shit. So that's cool. I'll see you, Snuggles.
She waiting.
It's not that straightforward. Listen, bare bones fact is you're just built for it. And because I need to get to another platform anyway, but I'm just saying, like, bare bones fact is you're built for it. And that's just how it works. If you can swim, you can swim. If you can cycle, you can cycle. If you are a person that likes cars, if you're a person that likes planes, if you're a person that likes getting on the train, you're built for it. That's just what you are. Be who you are, be happy, and be your best self. Fuck what people say about you, okay? That's all it is. Do you get what I'm saying? Sometimes I come up here and I'm chiming in with people and I'm like, God damn, because it's just like for the fun of it. Certain people take it too seriously, and that's not what the cause is. So I appreciate you, bro. I'm going to chime out. I'm going to get onto another platform, see how they take that. It is what it is. If you're okay with that, salute. I have the utmost respect for you.
To answer that question, with men, it's a learned behavior as they develop into their adolescent years. Women, not too much, because women are already predisposed to being taught and conditioned as far as marriage and monogamy and that type of thing. This is what they're taught in their adolescent year. They're not taught to be player of the year during their adolescent years as the boys are. Most boys are after they get past their first love, as they call it, and get their first heartbreak. Then as their teenage years advance, they make their choices. They see their options. We all know about spring break and all of that for those that college and all of that. So everything is a learned behavior, and it goes back to what I said. As life progresses for each individual, they accept something, they reject something. It's up to their accountability of what they know is the not the outlook, but the ramifications from their actions. You get what I'm saying? Now they want to take the risk, they take the risk. Some people, things work out okay. Some people dodge a bullet. Some people wind up, hurting them in the long run, rather disease, sickness, getting hurt, rape, all kinds of things. So, everybody has a different outcome and a different story. But to answer her question, with boys during their adolescent years, yes, it's a learned behavior, not by nature. You're not born to be a polygamy.
All right. I'm gonna swing at it. Normally I try to wait and go last, but I'm gonna go on and swing at this. There is studies that suggest that monogamy is not natural for neither sex. That a woman is a myth for a woman to want a monogamous relationship. A woman would feel just as comfortable with 4 men taking care of her as she would with one. And she would also be just as comfortable with satisfying those 4 men so that she does not lose either of those men to someone else because of the amount of resources poured in. And if you think about the things that really attract a woman is resources and stability for her child. That's why some women do have someone. So like a woman may never sleep with a particular guy, but because he's very sweet on her, may step out and go to this man and get money from him when you can't pay everything that she needs paid. She's not fucking him. She's not sucking him off or none of that. But she is allowing him to take over your role as a provider. She's allowing him to help her. Right? Now, the idea of monogamy was more so influenced by the church. And we already know men are comfortable with spread. Your first instinct as a man is to actually spread your genetic material. You hear it and you see it all the time. When dudes start dating a woman, like he will bring up kids before she does, especially if he likes her a lot. Just like I made the comment at one other podcast that men trap women just like women trap men. We do that. Yeah. We do that. But you know, the jury's still out. So to answer her question would still be an opinion. It's not factual, just an opinion, but I'm telling you some considerations should be made because we live in a cultural dynamic. Well, we lived in a cultural dynamic for which it was not acceptable to have a woman with 5 men and a man with 5 women or nothing like that. It's not acceptable. Matter of fact, it's against the law. Like you can have a polyamorous girlfriend, boyfriend, live-in situation. That's not, but you try to marry him. I don't care what your religious belief.
Yeah, exactly.
You will go to jail.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. You're right.
You will go to jail no matter what. You will go to jail. Now y'all might live and get married, but no, you won't file. You won't file.
Yeah, they're trying that common law.
File.
They run that common law thing in certain states. It's allowed, and certain things it's not recognized. But they, you know, try to ride the line. But legally, it's no. You're right. And Chris said something very heavy earlier about the guys that usually volunteer themselves in this polyamory are very vital. You're right. Most of them are narcissists. Most of them have issues with their mamas. A lot of them are thriving on replacing what they didn't have growing up or replacing what they don't have as an adult. So they take it out on women by getting into this thing where they think being in control would subsidize their failures, their losses, their lack of whatever it is. Because most of the time you see these guys running around bragging about their dick size, and I keep telling these young cats, big dick dudes don't say shit. They don't brag. They just function like normal people and don't go around running off with the jibs.
Yeah, typically, and even if you talk with women, to your point, even if you talk with women, dudes who brag about it, you ain't got it.
Mm-mm.
You like you was a whole damn letdown, nigga. You thought that was big?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Exactly.
Go ahead, Chris.
Well, when I said volatile, that wasn't quite what I was referring to. The reason why it's volatile is because polygamous societies, the men are typically, it creates too much competition. And the men of the society, all of them, especially the ones that haven't been chosen, are typically more volatile. So that's more.
No, I got you. I was just piggybacking off what you're saying as far as you bringing in the mindset of the people that normally initiate these polyamorous type situations. It's not really the women, it's mostly the men. And I'm showing the mindset of those type of men that initiate these polyamorous relationships.
Are you talking about in America?
In America, yeah, for the most part.
I don't really know. I don't know the data on that in particular. Yeah. But I'm sure it's a possibility.
What you was talking about earlier about the you know, with the car, the house, and you know, each woman and all that, that's across seas. I'm very aware of that part, especially in the Islamic world. That's very common. Even in Africa, certain parts of South Africa, that is common. But the United States, though, a lot of people, what we read in books or what they heard, they took that. They took what was, let me put it simpler. A lot of these guys that got into Islam, for example, they read, you know, this, that, and the third. They took bits and pieces and revised it to what works for them. So they're not following the tradition that was set already across seas. They just put their spin on it. And now we got poly parties and, everything but what was part of the tradition, like you were saying about buying the car, the house for each woman. These guys like, we ain't doing that. I just want the sex.
They just
and
want
that's it.
sex and they don't really understand,
Right.
the dynamic. And now,
Right.
Snuggles also said when we had these conversations, you talking about the minority. Now, most of the time, most of us up here, we're speaking from like if you ever heard me before, I focus on the middle of the bell curve. I don't care about the outliers. That's you're not gonna come at me and say I have a cousin and that's something is not true because you know one person. First of all,
right.
I don't even know that person, the shit you talking about is true. First of all, because most of the time when you say I have a cousin, you're lying anyway. So I don't, just to be heard. No, I focus on the majority. So
I'm talking about the majority too.
Women have shown that they would rather be monogamous. Throughout history, most women have shown that they would rather be monogamous. And polyamory is something that it's not new, but it's something that's trying to make its way into the culture.
Right.
And it's coming in wrong. It's more
exactly
orgy than anything else. It's not really a viable relationship. It's not, there's, first of all, you have to be married to one because there has to be a head wife. There's the first wife is the boss. She dictates the behavior of the other wives. That's the way that works. Like there's one specific wife and she's in charge. This stuff that we doing now, that's completely something different. But
correct.
For the most part, men would rather have just one woman. One, you don't have the resource to take care of more than one woman. Two, you don't have the ability to coexist with another man. Talking about having a polyamorous relationship or whatever you would call it, if the woman wanted 2 or 3 of y'all. You don't see that. You see the man having multiple women, right? And that's which is pseudo because it's like we said, it's not done right. So to really answer Snuggles' question, if you look at the majority of what's going on, monogamy is the way that we accept these relationships.
Correct.
Okay. So with that being said, then Madison had another one to her point. But do you think women will want to take care of all 4 men back to hell no? She probably
they're not conditioned for that.
No, they ain't conditioned for that. Like, there are some women out there that that are, but that majority
the majority is not like that. And I just want to piggyback off of that too. This is when, for ladies, if you ever is approached by a guy saying that he's into poly lifestyle and he wants you to be a part of it, and it comes down to sex, any bona fide person that is very familiar with the culture and the history of the poly lifestyle knows men do not pick other women. The women pick other women.
The wife, the head.
That's right.
The other woman. That's what I'm saying.
So no man is supposed to go out there and pick a girl to bring home for you and him to get together with. That's not poly.
No,
that's just a dude looking to get his thing wet. That's all.
That's it. Because the head wife is supposed to know what you like sexually.
Right.
She also has to pick a woman that she can work with. Because they spend a lot of time together to please you and take care of the house.
Right.
So she is the one who's going to choose that other woman, not you. You're not.
Correct.
You ain't got nothing to do with that. Chris, go ahead.
What was the question? Okay. This one or the polygamous one? Are men
here, let me go back. I think it was right here.
This is a tough question. This is, you can't really answer it with a yes or no because it depends on the country, number one, because a lot that goes, there are many factors that go into whether or not men are more polygamous, I guess. Polygamous with an S, I guess. It's such a weird word because they sound so similar, but those little changes.
Polyamorous.
Well, that's love. That's many loves, but I think the gammy at the end means married.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So such a weird word, but anyways, sorry. Has to do with the culture. Has to do with the amount of testosterone that the men have, like how sexual they are, their libido, and all of that good stuff. But the question is whether or not we think about things like short-term or long-term monogamy, because there's this idea that with human beings, we're one of the only species that takes a while to actually conceive a child. It takes many tries before you actually successfully conceive a child, and the reason for why that is because the body, the soul ties that they call it, the body takes more time to bond, and so our biology is actually created so we take more time to bond with our partners and build that relationship before we can actually conceive a child. So in a sense, our bodies are actually sort of created to be with one person multiple times. So I think the question is more so, how long are those relationships? How long should they be? At what point will a man consider kind of moving on for like survival reasons in terms of his DNA? So that's a really tough question to answer. It depends on the culture. Depends because where you live, who your parents were and where your parents evolved. And that has a lot to do with the kids and how they're going to evolve. So I can't answer it with a yes or no, but I've been listening to a lot of evolutionary psychologists talk about this idea, and it's much more complex than the manosphere makes it seem.
And I like that word that you use for survival, because that's a twofold thing. The survival based upon the individual's agenda, because you have some guys that would get into this, and you heard the term like riding the line, like I don't mind sleeping with you, but we're not going to get into having children because I just want to enjoy the benefits without being fully in it. You get what I'm saying? It's like somebody proposed. It's like somebody you've been sleeping with and been with for 5 years, 6 years, whatever, and they proposed and got engaged to you, but had no intentions of marrying you. So they've been stringing you along the whole time. And it's the same way when it comes to childbirth. Some people will just hang around just for a place to stay or just for whatever benefit and agenda, but ride the line and never cross it. They do everything to avoid crossing it. And that's a survival thing that I see a lot of younger people, even a few older people, a lot of younger people do. They ride the line just so they could benefit from the poly lifestyle or even a monogamous lifestyle. Y'all know people that they only got in a situation so they can not be on the street, or they can have access to a vehicle, or so they can eat, all kinds of things.
All right. So this has been a really, really good show. We are way past the 2-hour part. Final thoughts. I know it, right? Because some of these, sometimes we can actually really get into it, especially when we get some questions that out here from the audience, and they want, they really make you think. Final thoughts. Let's go to you, Carl. What are your final thoughts? Remember, shout out yourself. Shout out your channel.
Carl Chef, Instagram. Going back to the original question as far as the roles of black men, and I'm always stick to it. Men need to see the doctor every 3 months, regardless if there's something wrong or not. I don't think men with stomachs hanging over their dick is healthy or cool for the women. And I think men need to take more time about being men in the sense of planning ahead and being the plan A, B, and C for a woman before getting involved. In other words, stabilize yourself before you even say hello. Don't go to a woman and think she's supposed to help you get together. You should be together already. So based on that, when you said about the question was something about the black male's role in 2022, I think since the pandemic or prior to the pandemic, men lost that role. There is no role for men no more because look what's happening around us. We got unisex bathrooms, P-Valley is popular, and so on and so forth. So there is no more black men. Just going to get extinct after a while. Women are replacing men.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. I like everything you just said. Chris, final thoughts. Shout your channel out.
I guess my final thoughts are, don't be afraid to be introspective. I think oftentimes a lot of people think that in learning about their own weaknesses, it's making everyone around them seem stronger, you know. But everyone has their own weaknesses. Everyone has to be accountable for whatever they've done. And finding the areas where you can improve does not negate what someone else did wrong. And doesn't make you a bad person. It's important to always figure out ways that you can grow, because if you're not growing, you are dying. And we should always stay in bloom, especially as women. There's so many lovely things about being a woman and exploring womanhood. And in order for us to do it, especially in a time where, you know, anyone can be a woman, it's especially important to take some time to figure out what parts of you can be a little bit better, a little bit more polished. And so I will pretty soon be talking about this more on my channel, The Blooming Ebony, but I haven't been on there in a while. You can find me on Instagram at The Blooming Ebony. And until I am back active on both of my platforms, you can find me here every Tuesday on CKQ Podcast. And that's all. I hope you enjoyed the show.
Well said. Yannick, final thoughts. Shout out your channel.
What is the role of a man in 2022?
Nah, I just left that up for Carl. What's your final thoughts on everything?
Well, I would say that and to our last point, I feel like if someone's going to cheat, it's going to happen, whether or not that woman is going to do it. So my final thought would be is just accept, if you are that woman, my final thought is for that person, that woman who is experiencing that, a man cheating on them and trying to figure out why. Just accept the fact that you did have a part in it, and just figure out your part, and that's it. And then figure out whether or not you are able to forgive him or not, and accept what happened. You know, I think that those are some steps you can take to move forward. And I want to say that I'm on this channel usually every Tuesday. CKQ. I might be hosting some. I think I'm hosting October 4th. Don't know the topic yet, but this Thursday, I still will be doing Married Ladies Opinions. Go to Instagram, Married Ladies Opinions, and this Thursday Eastern. Don't know the topic yet, but it's going to be about relationships. It's always about relationships. That's what we talk about, not just marriage. We are just married ladies who have opinions about relationships. So please continue to watch us. Come back to everybody's channel. Hope y'all love the show. I have fun. Thanks for coming. Peace.
Yay.
All right, so to everyone that's still out here watching, everybody that commented, and even if you didn't comment, we really appreciate you. We love seeing the same faces week in, week out. We thank you. Just hit that like button before you go. Subscribe. Look for the mini clips that the shorts that CKQ himself actually posts and edits himself. My final thoughts are this. And I'm gonna have to ride with the ladies on this one. Ladies, it's not every man is a cheater. And although both of y'all can have can share that blame if he does step out, but And like Yannick said, you're gonna have to just sit back and sit back and contemplate whether or not you can forgive him if he does. Men, we do have to exercise some type of dick discipline, regardless of what she's going through. If she's not not having sex with you, why is she not having sex with you? What have you done that's different? So every woman, is not as verbal as you want her to be. She may have her reasons. She may have some mental issues, some hormonal issues. But, and like I said, we're talking about wives. We're not talking about girlfriends and anything like that. We're talking about wives, somebody you have promised to cherish, obey, be faithful to death do you part. That doesn't give you a pass to go out here and smash somebody else. I don't care if she ain't had sex with you in 6 years. All right. But now, if you do, I'm not saying that she forced your hand, but I am saying that she does have she does share some blame with you on that. But at the end of the day, you have to be accountable if it happens. Because at the end of the day, nobody put a gun in your head and tell you to go out here and smash somebody. You know what I'm saying? What if she was a paraplegic and couldn't have sex, like it wasn't possible for her to have sex, like she wants to, but she can't? Then what? You just gonna put her aside? These vows, a lot of people get married, they don't really need to be married. They're looking at it like advanced dating. So that's my take. You can find me every week right here on CKQ Podcast. If you want to get at me about something that has to do with psychology, then you can get at me at behavioral_consultant on Instagram. All right, until next week, we appreciate you, but we out of here. Peace.
If we're doing everything right, I think we should be vetting our wives, like go to their parents, go to their fathers.
They know they shouldn't have let me start speaking my mind in the booth, start speaking the truth. Might get shot.
I think you're just saying, okay, actions have consequences, and I'm not going to support this person's actions. Like, you don't have to cancel them and say, like, I hate you.
Innocent lives have to die.
But the whole thing is men are I also. That man was on the other side doing the exact same thing, and his decision with his eyes was to walk away.
Inside your soul.
Now we can paint the perfect picture without belittling each other, because under God's system,
we are equipped to handle that responsibility, but not every man is fit to handle that responsibility. And it's just being
cities, they pissing in project buildings that got a roof that leaks, resulting in missing ceilings, hard to sleep. Children going to schools dealing issues deep.
So I think society does make it more difficult for short men, but I don't think that it's impossible that they can find someone.
And expecting you to do your part. It ain't hard to see they trying to keep black in the back, just like Rosa Parks. Cops shooting blacks as if they get a token from God. School rob you with needed resources.
Is the weaker vessel and the more vulnerable.
Absolutely. 100%.
You don't look at the man like, oh, poor son, you were violated. No, you like, bruh.
And nobody.
They shift my stick like some cars. And when you're lonely in your darkest thoughts, come, I know it's hard, but God shines his light on all that play their part. And it's the start.
Put myself in a situation where I can only rely on a man. Like, if I'm married and being a stay-at-home mom, I need to have